Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. But need OG Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I will soon, soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her sit back, I need my room, room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in a room. I been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I got a gas, they running on fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my lower, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't relate, but like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low, but I'm back on the rise, it's real. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I will soon, soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her sit back, I need my room, room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm hopping now I gotta go. I'm looking back, they not even close. I had a 4, now I need a ghost. I got a wave like I'm on the coast. Same ones are down and I dare the show. So way that I'm ballin', they think I'm a pro. I'm getting sick by the money I gross. They saying whoa, I told them all what this is. I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time, look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shootin' this brace, I'm going in a new gear, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script, I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. It's just how I'm doing this shit that I'm going. Just how I'm doing this shit that I'm going. Ayy, just how I'm doing this shit that I'm going.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy.
Never see me coming, I'ma land mine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin with a little bit of a drop to the downside, continuously rejecting, or still, should I say, rejecting our local value area high. Are we on our way to that $111,000 to $109,000 zone? Are we going to be able to hold a little higher low here? I'm going to break down all the key levels on the chart and what I'm looking at overall next for the Bitcoin price action. Let me go ahead and pull up chat here. I lost chat for a second, guys. But what is going on, Mafia? Welcome in. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Samuel. Said thank you for the super chat, bro. Said 3 goat sounds in a row, Frankie, please. I'll give you a little shout out to Samuel. Thank you for the super chat, bro. We got the goats going in the chat here. We got the goats going on the soundboard. But guys, Bitcoin getting a little rejection down here. I'm going to cover the key levels. We're still within our macro or our local volume profile, continuously rejecting the value area high. Are we going to be able to fill this thing in full? Well, we are coming down to a local level of support here, but money flow is potentially pointing lower. So I'm going to break down everything for you guys tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. We got Rudy in the chat. Said, yo, Frankie, I love you, bro. LFG. Shout out to Rudy. I love you back, brother. We got Erica in the chat dropping the goats. We got Connor in the chat. We got Amina. K Diggity. Speaking of goats, let's go. Phoebe says hi, K Diggity. We got Full Melt Mike in the chat. Elixir. I'm my hero. Panda the Prophet. Jesse. Captain Kirk. CandleMafia Mama. What is going on? We got the mods in the chat, guys. Show them some love. We got Rob the Crypto Snob. Captain Kirk. Darren does things. I don't know if he's in here right now, but we got Jesse. Show him some love in the chat if you love him as much as we do, guys. But we are getting a little bit of a push down, now a little bit of a bounce. So without further ado, don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Shout out to Amina. Said, y'all are silly. But yeah, don't forget to smash that like button. We're going for 2.6 million likes on tonight's live stream. I think we can get there. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so here we are. Now, as we looked at the chart yesterday, you guys will know, let me go ahead and hide some of these levels so we can get it nice and simple here on the chart. This is our overall kind of local volume profile that we've been looking at, and we came up here yesterday giving us that 30-minute bearish divergence here into our value area high. Now, if you are new here, just understand, these are typically where we are looking for short as you push into the value area high. We are looking for longs at the value area low or beyond. And obviously, we came up here yesterday. We pushed in and gave ourselves this nice little 30-minute bearish divergence. We even got an SFP of our equal highs that we had sitting up here. Very, very nice. Of course, this did happen at like 2 in the morning, so I did not catch my short setup that we had here. at the entry, right? But I did actually catch a local aggressive entry here, literally, guys, seconds before this bigger drop to the downside. I even tried to catch a little bit of a retracement last night, but I tried to stay up. And then, of course, it retraces as soon as I go to sleep. I missed it here, staying up till 2 a.m., and then I stayed up until like 1, 2 a.m. last night, and it just waited till I went to sleep to give us the retracement. But I did catch an entry here, literally like right about here before that, literally seconds before that drop to the downside. So I am holding that short position. I think I have it up here, up about 678 at the moment, about a half position here. But you can see here literally right before the drop to the downside here, guys. Like literally seconds before the drop, I was able to get in there to catch that move to the downside. So up 686 on that as of right now over on WeX. But the question is, guys, when we look at this volume profile, are we looking for a full rotation? Because as you guys know, when you reject those value area highs, obviously we did have the bearish divergence in the SFP. And then as we came back up here, what are you looking at for a potential lower high? Well, you're going to be looking at that golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement. And where's that lower high come in, right? You come up to tap that 786, you get back underneath, and then boom, you get that bigger drop down for essentially a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. And when we start to look at some of our lower time frames here, you had the 15-minute money flow, at least at the time, was coming to the downside here with a 4-hour red dot. We've now come a little bit back into the green, but generally we are trending out here. 12-minute did come into the red with that 4-hour red dot, giving us a bearish market cipher B116 strategy, assisting that move to the downside. And of course, guys, anytime we are looking for shorts up here at the high, the overall thought process within the profile is to get a rotation from your value area low back above that low into the POC. Once you get above that POC, you can look to continue up to the value area high for your full rotation. And then as you see those bearish confirmations at the high, we can look for rejections back in, and then it makes that next key level of support here sitting at the POC golden pocket retracement between about 111,674 and 111,280. Now, are we going to see this fulfill, right? Well, when we look at that lower time frame money flow, I will be honest, this 15-minute money flow looked a little bit better for the 15-minute, 4-hour market cipher B116th. We came a little bit back into the green here. Maybe we see that crossover into the red. But at this point, guys, I do think we could potentially see at least a little bit of relief here. But the overall kind of context here is if we do continue down, those next big key levels to look at, I'll just come right off the bat here, 111,674 to 111,280. If we do get sucked down towards that POC, this will be that next key level of support. And then if we lose that, guys, I am going to be expecting price to come back down to our 786/value area low zone, which right now is confluent with our anchored VWAP from the bottom here. So you do have a little bit of confluence in there. 786, value area low, anchored VWAP, right? So that's going to be the next level. Of course, lose the PLC. You're looking down to go down to that value area low. These are going to be the next major levels of support. But if we look at some of our local levels here, you will know, right? If we pull up, actually, let me get rid of this, and I will pull up our main volume profile. You guys can see this is kind of our larger perspective here, or higher time frame perspective. We've gotten back above that value area low. We flipped that POC. The question is, are we on our way to eventually continue a bigger move to the upside here? Even if we did have to come back down to those lower levels, can we hold those higher lows and higher highs to eventually target out this $117,000 to $118,300 key zone of resistance, right? And I talked about this yesterday. We did previously have the point of control confluent here, but once we extend that profile to the right, the POC actually comes down to the bottom of this range. And to be quite honest here, guys, regardless of how far back I pull this, right? I could pull this all the way back to all this lower price action back here. POC stays at the low of that profile. Even if I pull it back even further, that POC is very, very strong, which is nice. Somewhat nice, right? Because you're not looking to fight that midpoint of the range at the POC. You're kind of already above that point of control, which essentially makes that next target within the volume profile the value area high at $119,000. Now, is it possible to see that continuation up? Well, as we see this 4-hour money flow in the green here, now, of course, this could continue to bleed out. But if we do get local bounces here, whether we have to come down to the value area low or not, if we could keep this money flow in the green, we could potentially anticipate higher lows and higher highs to eventually target that $117,000 to $118,000 786 golden pocket, right? And then above that, obviously, the final target within the profile is that $119,000 to $121,000 786. This is the big level, guys. If we want all-time highs for Bitcoin, guys, This is the level to get above, right? I've kind of been talking about this. Market Cipher B's money flow, especially on the higher time frames, has been a little bit suspicious. So it's a little harder to make confident calls off the money flow. But if we were to see this continue to the upside, right? This box right here, and I'll just give you the actual numerical values here: 119,351 all the way up to about $121,000. Like, this is really the level to get above. And you also have that daily MPOC up there as well. It's like, it's not until we break out of this level that I would be looking for all-time highs. But as long as we can remain inside the larger profile, which again, the value area low here at about 110,337. If we pull up that local profile, you can see 110,337. It brings you right back down to that value area low. This is going to be the next major levels, right? Like, if we wind up, right, even if we pull up our previous range here with that POC up at $117,000, $118,000, the previous profile I just mentioned, you can see our local golden pocket value area low sits down here as well. So we are approaching support. We've actually already tapped into this golden pocket. So I do think we could get a little bit of short-term relief here potentially, just because of the medium time frame green dots, right? 2 hour kind of still stagnant there. 1 hour VWAP looking across back up here. You have your 80-minute VWAP coming back up. You got your 30-minute green dot looking to print. Now, I wouldn't be looking at this for a moonshot to the upside, but it could mean that we could get a little bit of a retracement back to the upside. And I'll just pull this up from the local perspective here. But it's like, just the money flow is super choppy here. 1 hour money flow looking to cross over into the red as well. So I am going to be looking at this 1 hour money flow. You have your 16-hour red dot confirmed, so you don't really have a Market Cipher B 116 strategy confirmed there. Super choppy and confusing market here, guys. Typically when you get a rejection from these value area highs, you have like a lot of confluence of money flow coming out. It makes it very easy to call for that continuation through the profile. But you can just see the money flow is kind of chopped up here, right? Like, 1 hour is trying to come out. Your 4 hour is kind of flat here, still in the green. You have your 5 hour money flow still potentially early in a crossover here. And then, like, even your 8 hour got a little bit rejected at the 0 line. It's just very choppy on Market Cipher B. So again, as I've said over the past few live streams, I'm going to put a lot more weight on the key levels than I am on Market Cipher B right now. But just in general, if we are able to see that 1 hour money flow cross into the red, we can look for that continuation down to these next big key levels of support. I don't anticipate necessarily breaking through this tonight, so I'll kind of end it there. I'm not going to talk about all like the super lower levels or anything like that. Another thing we can look at here is we do have our daily VWAP coming to the downside as well, potentially looking for a red dot somewhat soon here. But as you can see, that money flow is coming to the upside, which typically would be a very good sign for higher lows and higher highs. But as you can see, obviously we've come into the green, into the red, into the green, into the red, into the green. Are we just going to fake out back into the red? I can't make a confident call on that, right? It's just like very choppy here. And it doesn't mean that Market Cipher is useless or anything like that. It's just like in these choppy markets, sometimes you just don't have the clearest signals, which again is why I'm putting more weight on the volume profiles. But the next key levels, guys, if you're going to be looking for those higher lows, in my opinion, are going to be down here at that golden pocket POC. I mean, unless we get the bounce from here, because remember, we are at technically local support. We did front run the value area low, though. There's also not a ton of confirmation down here. It's not like we had like amazing 4 hour bullish divergences or anything like that. But this is kind of why I say, if we're going to tap into that golden pocket and get a little relief here, maybe these medium time frame green dots can give us that, right? 45-minute green dot, maybe the 30-minute green dot, etc. But I will be kind of viewing that more as a lackluster bounce to the upside until proven otherwise, right? So main volume profile that I would watch locally, value area high still here, 115, 520, 532. Then you have the POC golden pocket at around 111,400. And then you have the 786 value area low zone sitting between about 110,350 all the way down to about 109,270. 272. So that's what we're going to see. We'll see if we can get that little retracement to the upside. If we are looking for lower highs and lower lows, what are those key levels to look at? Well, naturally here, guys, I am going to just pull this as a volume profile. Pull it like this, right? These range lows could give us a little bit of turbulence. If we pull our local fib from the high to the low here, you can see you do have golden pocket confluence there. So anytime we're looking for the continuations of the downtrend here, guys, I am going to be looking at those Fibonacci retracements. And of course, you can pull local retracements as well, maybe from the lower high. That's actually a little bit more confluent here. So if we do get a retracement, maybe we could get a push back up into around 114,230 into potentially 114,800. And then maybe if we could reclaim this value area, we can look for a breakout. But again, when I look at this from a volume profile perspective, I am just inclined to say, like, well, hey, more often than not, you know, you get above the value area low. Oh, my God, we're getting a pullback. You hold the value area low. Oh, my God, we're getting a pullback. You hold the value area low, get above the POC, and continue up. Those volume profiles are 100%. I don't want to say 100%, right? But, like, they are very high probability. So I am just going to lean on the side of that. If we do wind up taking off from here, we do have the long from lower as well, and a small long position that I took off the golden pocket that I just showed you. Those will continue to pay me out, but I'm going to hold the short here, guys. I'm going to hold it with my stop loss at break even in case we get that bigger meltdown. And again, I wish money flow wasn't such a chop fest here. You know, 2 hours coming out, 1 hour's coming out, but then you come on over to the 4, the 5, the 6. It's like, it's just very, very choppy and hard to call. So these are going to be the key levels that I'm watching, and of course, if we do get the push down to the value area low, again, local support here. I'm not a huge fan of taking longs on a golden pocket or a POC, but with the specific context here with the golden pocket in confluence with the POC, it could be an area to put in a higher low. And then if not, the next area I will be looking for bounces is going to be on this value area low and potential deviations below it, right? Because anytime we trade these volume profiles, it's not that once you lose the value area low, you have to go to 0, right? But this could be the opportunity to look for long positions in anticipation of getting back into that range and rotating back to the highs. So I think I already mentioned the numerical values of this range. So get this on your chart, guys. This is the range to look at. And again, that doorway to higher prices, in my opinion, is sitting locally at 115.7. Once we get above that, we can look to snap this wick up here, which unfortunately is just going to lead us into what? Our macro golden pocket, right? So we'll see. You know, oftentimes when I'm looking for these shorts, you know, you sometimes front run that golden pocket. More often than not, it will get tapped. But, you know, I wouldn't be looking for that until we get back above the anchored VWAP, back above that 786, then we can look for the snap of that wick into the golden pocket, right, which is still going to be resistance, although not as important as we have looked at recently because the POC is not there anymore, right? This makes it a little less of a significant level, and that kind of puts my targets on, like, you know, this is definitely going to be resistance. I will be looking for shorts up here. However, you know, at the end of the day, you're above the value area low in the POC. I would not be surprised. You know, it makes that next major target really the value area high. Because typically, when you bounce off these volume profiles, right, or you bounce off a value area low, like we're looking at right here, right, it's like you go from the value area low. Usually the POC is somewhere in the middle of the range. In this case, it was right up here. It's like get above the value area low. Next stop is the POC. But now that that POC is not there, it kind of makes that bigger target the value area high. But that all stems or relies on the fact that we stay inside this range, right? I wouldn't be super, super worried about coming all the way back down to the value area low for a potential higher low, higher high. But if we wind up losing this and some other key levels that we have down here, you know, we will be looking for that bigger drop down towards $102,000. Now, you might ask yourself, Frankie, what is that key level? What level are you looking to lose to go down to 102K? Well, I do believe I have it up here. It is going to be this 786 sitting at about $106,271, right? If we wind up losing that, this is just from a Fibonacci perspective. Let me just hide this, right? I like this anchored VWAP confluence a little bit better, but like once we start losing this 786, guys, it's like the opportunity to put in a potential higher low and higher high is pretty much invalidated, right? At that point, you're below your anchored VWAP, you're below the 786, and that's where I'm looking to take out these lows into $102,000, which is, of course, going to be an insanely important level of support. I've talked about this yesterday and almost every other live stream we've done here over the past week or so, or maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The 50-week moving average is still down there. You know, we have the MPOCs. We have 2 daily MPOCs. Or we have 1 daily MPOC, we have a weekly MPOC, and then we have a weekly level, and I believe that's it, right? So you have a bunch of confluence down here, and that would be in the case that we come down and fill that entire wick. But this is obviously very far away, and there are multiple opportunities, as I just showed you, to bounce, right? But just to kind of give you guys an idea of where I am positioned, right? I am holding my short from up here, and I'm holding my long from lower down here. So kind of a cushy position, right? But let me jump into chat here. What are we thinking, guys? Are we going to 0? Are they printing money? What is going on? Is the bull market over? Let me know what you think. I think you guys know my bias here and my stance on that. Let's see. And obviously, if you guys have been keeping an eye on the stock market just continuing to just nonsensical. There's just absolutely ripping to the upside, which is interesting. Let's see. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend said, hi, driving now. See y'all soon. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend. Well, we'll see you soon when you get back to the house and you're not driving and YouTubing at the same time. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend. Please drive safe. Public service announcement from your boy, Frankie Candles. All right, let's see. Panda the Prophet said 0 is the answer. it's always zero. Shout out to Panda the Prophet. One more pump. Shout out to Erica looking for one more pump. Golden in the chat. What is going on, Golden? Welcome in. He said 420 likes for 50 free memberships. That'll get us closer to our like goal of 2.7 million likes, guys. We're going to break a YouTube record tonight for 2.7 million likes. Shout out to Golden. Let's go, baby. 420. Let's get to 420 first. It's a magical number, guys. It's the magical number. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Concept. I don't invest in this Fugazi. This magic internet money. Fugazi. It's fake. It's fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's magic internet money. Give me one sec, guys. I got to turn the camera fan on or my camera's going to go black. All right, we're back. All right, let's see here. Let's all rug Binance. Shout out to James. I ran to my computer to get into a short, got stopped out twice, and then it dropped. Shout out to Poida. Oh, my God. That is painful, my friend. That is painful. Don't feel too bad, brother. Don't feel too bad. Don't FOMO, guys. Don't FOMO. Yo, shout out to Captain Kirk. Said, Frankie, are you feeling okay? You're wheezing. Bitcoin's dumping. Shout out to Captain Kirk. It's all right. We got the emergency. I don't know what that blue L is that she keeps putting in the chat, but I heard they help you breathe. Bubba's Crypto. Yo, let's go. Thank you for gifting those 5 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's get it. Shout out to Bubba's Crypto. Let's go. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Bubba's, are you in a short? Let us know. Let's see. Tell Biddy not to front run the POC at 111.3. Please, Biddy, don't do it. Come on, Bitcoin. Keep nuking. I'm kidding. I'm never wishing for a nuke to the downside, even when I'm in a short, guys. I'm just like, always want that move to the upside for those spot bags. Do not let the bear market come. I'm just trying to hold it up, guys. I'm shorting. The only reason I'm shorting, guys, is to put my liquidity above so they can stop hunt me and push price higher. That's why we do it. Let's see. Shout out to Darren O'Brien, not to be confused with Darren Does Things, says, Frankie, do we tap the 50-week moving average at 101.5 and then fly to all-time highs, as it would make sense to double bottom before the run? Shout out to Darren. Actually, someone asked me that exact question last night, and I will pull up the 50-week moving average real quick for you here. Where we at? Let me come to a higher time frame. So we do have the 50. 50 week is moving up now, right? It is. Just double check this. Yeah, so it is coming in. You know, the top of it right here is at about $103,000. So this is a zone, of course. I'm going to be looking at this from the 50-week moving average all the way down to those horizontal levels. So this is going to be a zone of support. I mean, listen, is it impossible? And just so everybody knows, right? It's nothing about this dump that says that you have to come and take out these lows, right? I'm not necessarily calling for this, but it is important to just understand, guys, like if the dumps do continue, like this is the biggest level to look at. Obviously, the 50-week moving average has been our basically like, we have the bull market support band, but I mean, you could pretty much call the 50-week moving average the real bull market support band, right? Like tapping into this level typically gives you good support within a bull market, right? To look for a new high to come in. So if we do come down to tap that, right? Like it is absolutely critical support. And we do have confluence down there with the MPOCs and the horizontal levels as well. So is it impossible to get the drop down, right? Tap into this level, maybe wick below it, get back above, and then see new all-time highs? I would say it's not impossible, but it does get a little bit dicey in my opinion, right? And what I will be looking at specifically here are weekly candle closures, right? Because if we backtest, or not backtest this, well, I guess technically we're backtesting it, but if you just look at this in historically, right, you come up to the weekly time frame. Anytime we've come down to tap this within a bull market, right, we're not closing multiple weekly candles below, right? We tap it on the wick, new leg up, new high being made, right? Not a new all-time high, but a new high, right? Come down, tap it, new high is made, right? Come down, tap it, new high is made. But everything, something that all of these taps have in common is no weekly candle closures, no weekly candle closures, no weekly candle closures. And we bring it all the way back to 2021 to show, we had like these little closes here. Now, again, of course, I was in the camp here that the all-time high did come in. Really, the true all-time high was back here in April. This was kind of an inflated dead cat bounce for the liquidity sweep. But you could just see here, right? Like, you don't spend a lot of time down there. You get the instant bounce. You almost wick into it again, another push to the upside. And then once you start closing multiple weekly candles below it, right, and you start getting stuck underneath that 50-week moving average, you don't really get a second chance to get above it. It's not like the bull market support band, right? Like, the bull market support band, we lose often in a bull market, right? You lose it, but then the 50-week saves you. You lose it, then the 50-week saves you. You lose it, the 50-week saves you. If we lose this bull market support band, you got to pray that 50-week is going to save you, right? Because if it doesn't and you close multiple weekly candles below that, right, that is where I'd be looking at more of a situation like in 2021 where it's like maybe the top is in, and at any rallies, right, you really got to watch that 50-week because historically, you're not able to reclaim it, right? And I don't think there's ever been a situation where you could reclaim it. Not that it would be impossible to do it for the first time ever, but you could even see here, right? You almost tap it, another move up. You tap it, move up. Once you start closing those weekly candles, bearish retest, bear market. Same thing here, right? Tap it, move up, multiple candles, weekly candles close. You didn't even bearishly retest it, right? You just essentially dumped on into the bear market. I guess you can look at this as like your bearish retest. Boom, boom, stuck underneath it, right? So when I say you don't want to get stuck underneath here, I mean it, guys. I absolutely mean it. So again, could you bounce there into new all-time highs? Yes, but if you start closing multiple weekly candle closures, or if you start closing multiple weekly candles down there, I would say the probability is higher that you would probably see something like that, right? Which hopefully, obviously, I'm not rooting for, right? And we're not there yet, right? We're not there yet. We're still above $108,000 to $107,000. Like, we're still above these major key levels of support, right? So it's not like we're down there losing it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is, we're going into the bear market. But, if we do get down there, that is something that you do have to keep in mind. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Let's see. Who's going to buy ETH next year? For example, if it drops from here without making a reasonable all-time high, I don't know, maybe people get spooked. It's like, oh, ETH didn't even make a new all-time high. Now, you guys know I did make a bet that if ETH did not make a new all-time high this cycle, I would shave my head and my beard. But luckily, I dodged that bullet, guys. We did put in a new all-time high, even though it wasn't the most exciting one. It wasn't here, though. Obviously, we did put in that new all-time high. Woo! Dodged that bullet. I told you guys the other day I have a Fragooty head, so I can't shave my head, guys. It's going to look really bad. And ETH, literally must have known that. They're like, I can't let Frankie show his Fragooty head. All-time high, back down. But I'll cover Ethereum in just a second. We'll take a look at some of the altcoins as well, guys. Don't worry. Shout out to Alchemistic says, seeing the stock market crushing it and BTC dumping is depressing. Shout out to Alchemistic. Yeah, it is. I am obviously in the camp that, 4-year cycle, right? I talk about, this is 4-year halving cycle. Sure, it's a thing. Sure, it's important. But traditionally, or not traditionally, but generally, Bitcoin follows the traditional markets. And, obviously it's not one-to-one, day-to-day, right? But overall, right, if you overlay the SPY over Bitcoin, you can see that it is... they mimic each other, right? Like Bitcoin essentially follows the traditional markets. This is, I talk about this all the time. Until we see like I wouldn't say this is like Bitcoin fully decoupling from the stock market or anything like that. But we've talked about like if they print money, right? Like we will very likely see a melt up in the stock market and Bitcoin would very likely follow. This is not really my opinion, guys. This is essentially just like what the case is, right? It's like, these asset classes mimic each other, right? So of course, stock market's ripping. It's not this. It's not this aggressive, right? I could shrink this down a little bit, right? So they are essentially just correlated. But when we start to think about like maybe an extended cycle or something like that, it's like if the stock market melts up and Bitcoin is just bleeding out into a bear market, it's at that point where we can say like, okay, it is the 4-year cycle you should pay attention to, not just the following the traditional markets, right? And if they did print money and the stock market melts up, I would have to assume based off history that Bitcoin is probably going to follow that, right? Until we see the opposite of that happen, it's not until then where we can say like, okay, the 4-year halving cycle is like literally tied to Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, when you look at this in hindsight, it's like the 4-year cycles just happen to line up with the macro business and liquidity cycles, which is why these follow each other. So we'll see. Maybe that gets proven wrong. But based off the information here, we would just have to say like, and of course today stock market's going up, Bitcoin's going down. That doesn't like totally write off all the history here. So we'll see. Maybe Bitcoin can catch up to the stock market, but it is very interesting because like the stock market is absolutely cooking, guys. Absolutely cooking into all-time highs. Oh my God, it's crazy. Keep the American scam going. We're a big fan of that. Selling off my stock portfolio to buy more crypto was the worst mistake I ever made in my life this year. Shout out to Amber. I thought you were gonna be like, I thought you were saying you're selling your stocks now to buy crypto, and I was like, oh, interesting. Let's see. Let's make our own BTC V2 manipulation proof. Maybe we should do that. It's hard to hodl when everything else is pumping to the moon. Yeah, shout out to Amber. Yeah, you start to get the one thing I would say, just be careful, right? Like, I don't think this is probably not your thought process, but if your thought process is like, oh my God, let me sell all my crypto at a loss to buy in at the highs on the stock market, obviously this is never something that I would, I can't recommend anything because I'm not a financial advisor, but this is never something I would do, right? We actually talked about this locally on Bitcoin yesterday, right? And last week, I believe as well, or back here, on the 20th, right? Like even if you're looking for a higher low and a higher high, like you could say your bias is higher, but this is not where you want to enter a long position, right? Like even up here, if we were able to break out here, like this is not where I'm foaming into a long, right? My long position is from much lower, right? You want to be longing the red candles and shorting the green candles. So it's you don't want to do that like on the macro outlook either with your long-term investments, which I don't think that's the case for Amber, but for anybody out there trying to learn. But yeah, it definitely is very, very hard. It's banned in China. Shout out to Connor. You're talking about Bitcoin. Yeah, trying to Bitcoin's been banned. Bitcoin's banned. The regulation, everything is just like. I mean, shout out to Bitcoin, guys. I mean, honestly, like if you just look at the Bitcoin chart here, like anybody who's been in Bitcoin since like previous cycles, maybe 2016, 2017, even back here, it's like, everybody calls Bitcoin a scam. And now it's like, you have all the institutions and it's like super validating. It's like, oh my God, regulation's going to kill crypto. It's never going back up. Bull run. It's crazy. I really wonder what like the next, in the next bear market, you will see people saying this time is different, just like every time. People are going to say this time is different at the highs. People are going to say this time is different at the lows. It happens every single cycle, right? And down here, it was like regulation, exchanges going down. You guys don't understand. This is the bubble is popping. Crypto's never coming back. Bitcoin just goes on to make new all-time highs, up and to the right over time every single time. So I wonder what the narrative is going to be here. Like, oh, you guys don't get it? Like, institutions are going to capitulate. It's going to bring Bitcoin down to 3K. They call for 3K every time. But we'll see. Maybe they'll be right. Let's see. Stocks will only go down 20%. Yeah, I mean, the dumps on the stock market are a little bit more palatable than crypto. That is for sure. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at here on Bitcoin locally, guys. It's just going to be this overall volume profile, and we'll see if we can get that full fill of the range. And if we do, again, biggest key levels of support are going to be sitting here. Now, I don't know, right? Like, this is a golden pocket POC. Depending on how long it takes us to get back down here, this anchored VWAP might become confluent with that golden pocket, right? In that case, that would be a little bit of a better level. If not, right, we lose that golden pocket. Maybe the anchor VWAP comes in here, confluent with the 786. But these are definitely the two biggest levels of support. Again, 111,674, 111,280. 111,280, and then the second zone down here is sitting between 110,337 to 109,277, right? Now, it's not the doorway to 102K, though, right? The doorway to 102K, so you can get it marked off on your chart, is going to be the 786 at $106,200. Once we lose that, I'm looking to get that bigger move down for the 50-week moving average, etc. So we'll see what happens. I'll hold that short position, and I'm still holding my long as well from lower. Shout out to Golden Child, said this time is different for alts 100%. They are way too low in price this late in the bull run. Cadena just went full belly up at the top of the bull run. That's a first I've seen. Yeah, shout out to Golden Child. I mean, here's the thing, guys. I don't want to get too deep into this because I've talked about it so many times, and it's kind of like off the scope of a trading channel. Well, I guess not really, but when it comes to alt season, right, it's like, we need money printing, right? Like, and again, like, are they going to print money? They have to, right? In my opinion, they have to print the money. It's like, when is that going to happen is the real question. Once they print money, we'll go into a much more risk-on environment. We need that for the altcoins to pump, right? The altcoins are much more risk-on. I mean, you can consider Bitcoin risk-on compared to stocks, but really, like, Bitcoin's pretty conservative compared to altcoins, right? So if they print money, or when they print money, I should say, that's likely when you'll see the alt season, and that's why I am open to the idea of potentially this time actually being different. Now, this is not me saying, guys, don't worry, this time is different, right? I've covered the bearish case 100 times on how a lot of this looks similar to 2021. But just for argument's sake, right, I've covered that so many times. I did want to kind of talk about like the idea of seeing the cycle extend. Is this completely crazy to think? Well, if you're going by the 4-year cycle, you would have to say it's a little bit crazy. But at the end of the day, right, if they decide to start printing money in 2026, right, 2026 historically should be a bear market year, right? This should historically be a bear market year. It doesn't have to play out exactly like this, but you would expect 2026, based off the 4-year cycle, to be a bear market year. But if they start printing money in that year, right, like I would expect the stock market to melt up. And then, of course, I would expect Bitcoin to follow that. And if Bitcoin puts in new all-time highs and melts up at the stock market, and you have money printing, that facilitates an environment where you could see an alt season come in. And we've already seen the rate cuts coming in, but you need the money printing, right? And hopefully that can happen sooner or later. You know, maybe we get some news out of the Fed. It's kind of like a bullish black swan event where they get a little bit more aggressive and they're like, oh my God, we got to, you know, they're not going to say we're going to print money, right? They're going to say it in some backwards language. They can't just say it outright. But if we get something like that, right, like maybe that can either kickstart us into the end of Q4 or, you know, maybe we have to wait longer. It's just hard for me to speculate on this time being different because it's just so hard to predict, right? Because you're trying to predict something that's, you know, historically not part of the pattern, right? But that is kind of the base case, right? Like you do need money printed. They print money, right? It's very likely going to be good for risk on assets. Altcoins are risk on assets, as well as crypto in general. So that's kind of my 2 cents. I'm going to end that there. I'm not going to talk about it the whole stream. Shout out to Battle Juice says, crypto is better than gambling, except memes. You rarely lose more than 30%, and people like it, or people are like, it's not going anywhere. Yeah, shout out to Battle. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the pullbacks, you know, 30% pullback, people are freaking out, and then, yeah, it's just super emotional, right? Like somebody was saying, I think yesterday someone was like, Tau is ripping. And I was like, I don't remember exactly where we were, but it was like, it was popping up a little bit. It's like so emotional, right? Like this market has a ton of emotion in it. But those are the key levels I'm looking at on Bitcoin, guys. We'll see what happens. You know, again, I don't want to get stuck on the long term here. But those are the levels I'm looking at, just playing it level to level. And luckily, we don't need a price to necessarily go in one direction or the other. We just need it, well, we don't only need it to go up or only need it to go down, right? We can obviously make money in both directions. Obviously, for the spot bags, we do need it to go up, though. But just keep in mind here, guys, we are still above our macro support, right? Don't forget this, right? It's like, there's your 786 at 106,200, right? This is kind of the doorway. If we lose that 786, it kind of invalidates the idea of holding on top of your macro support and continuing up. And that would indicate losing that 786 would invalidate that and indicate that we are going to come lower. And the next levels to look at are going to be that $102,000 zone on the 50-week moving average, the daily and weekly MPOCs, as well as the, I think, daily and weekly levels down there that I showed earlier in the stream, right? And if that doesn't hold, well, guess what? You know, at that point, and this is why I don't really love that either, right? Because it's like once you lose this, you got to bounce here and get going very aggressively, right? Because if you wind up spending some time down here, you can't get back out of the value area high. At that point, like the next place to look down to is going to be the POC and the value area low, getting between 96 to 97 to 91 to 92K. So just to kind of point out, like from a simple perspective, I know there's a lot of levels on the chart here. This wonky, choppy price action, super annoying. But just from a simple perspective, initial breakout, it's okay to retest for new all-time highs. It's okay to retest for potentially new all-time highs. But once you wind up losing that, so I give you guys the exact line in the sand that I'll be looking at. It's okay to come test this, right? Maybe even wick below it, get back above aggressively for a higher low. But, you know, once you start losing it, there's the invalidation of that idea. I'm looking to come take out that wick. So there you go. Nice and simple. 106,200 is the level you don't want to lose. You're back below the value area high. Got the 50-week moving average underneath you. And then on the way back up, you really got to start seeing aggressive pushes back above that profile. So we'll see. Very confusing, sketchy range here. And of course, you do have to be careful, guys, with, you know, even if we got to push up here towards, let me pull it up on this chart because I think it's a little bit simpler to look at. You know, this golden pocket 786, we do have to be careful that we're not just going into a big retracement, right? You know, big liquidation, retracement into the golden pocket, or even the 786 at around $121,000. This is the zone. This is like the last place to put in a lower high and a lower low. So even if we push up here, you still got to be careful. Once you get above here, it's like, all right, now things are looking really good. We can push into new all-time highs. And more often than not, guys, there is like huge signs to anticipate that new all-time high or a lower high for a lower low. Like when you're trying to predict the overall macro trend here, there's usually clear signs on Market Cipher B on the money flow on the higher time frames. But like I've been saying, right, like it's just been very choppy, right? Like you take a look at the 2-day. 2-day is generally trending out, right? If I take this at face value, this money flow is coming out. It doesn't mean it can't fake out into the green, but again, that's why I've been saying time and time again, like if we're gonna see new all-time highs, I kind of just need to see it happen, right? There's no real significant signals here. You know, you do have the potential daily bullish divergences here, or the 2-day bullish divergences. You kind of got, you know, you don't. It's really hard, right? Because if you connect these lows, right, you do have price coming down, momentum coming up, right? And but you don't have it from these lows, right? You don't have a lower low on price, higher low on your momentum wave. You just have a lower low. So it's not like we just have like a textbook massive bullish divergence here on the higher time frames with money flow coming up, right? And I compare it all the time to back here, right? Because this was very confident for me to say, hey, we're at key support. We have the bullish divergences. Beautiful 2-day bullish divergence, right? And even on the daily, you get the daily bullish divergence. This is the exact signal we were looking at when we were all the way up here in the premium Discord, looking for that move into $75,000 to $80,000, right? And we were talking about if we get down there, what I want to see are nice high time frame bullish divergences, specifically on the daily, and we definitely want the divergence with the money flow coming up. So what do I have here? Why is it easier to call for a new high here? Well, very simple. You have key support, very clear divergences on your momentum waves, which actually, I guess here technically you have a little blip there. You don't have the that's like an exaggerated bull div there. Similar, not the same though. But the stands true on money flow, right? Lower lows, higher lows, 2-day, beautiful, bullish divergences, and your daily money flow is what? It's in a big red wave on that continuation down. Money flow crossed into the red right here, right? You get the continuation of your downtrend as you would expect, right, into a nice clean money flow wave. And then as you get the bounce off the divergence, what's your daily money flow doing? It's about to get a crossover into the green. So you had spent time in the red and you're about to cross back into the green. That makes a very confident call for a macro trend to the upside, targeting all-time highs, which is what we were looking for, and we did get it. But here, it's just a little different, right? I'm not going to be able to mark all these nice bullish signals that I just showed here because they're just not as clear, right? You have, I guess you could argue, right? Let's just argue, yeah, like you don't have a bullish divergence here, right? I mean, it's like somewhat exaggerated, but this is technically a lower low. Maybe you could pull it from here, right? But it's just, look at your money flow, right? It's not like we have a clean red wave looking to cross over back into the green. You just kind of had super choppy money flow. So it's a lot harder to make that call, especially on top of that, with where we are in the timing of the cycle makes it a much more difficult call as well. So, if we had that big red wave, we had the clear bullish divergences, maybe, even on the 2-day, it's like, maybe you can look at that as a 2-day bull div, but it would also look a lot better if, on the trend down, you had a nice clean red wave and it was about to cross into the green. That's what you want to see for a big move up, right? You want to see the big red wave crossing into the green for a big move up, even on the daily, right? Whoops. You want to see that big red wave crossing into the green. At that point, it's like, well, hey, not only are you getting a crossover into the green, but you're getting back above your macro profile here. Looking for the fulfill the profile, and the money flow supports that. Much more difficult situation here, to be honest. Like, we're hitting support. I guess you could argue there's kind of wonky bull divs here, but the money flow is just not as clear. Like, even on the 3-day, right? 3-day, you're still in the green, but it's not like a fresh crossover. So, when the clear signs are there, they are, right? But the reason I'm being cautious around these Fibonacci retracements is just because, like, I don't know if this money flow is going to fake out, right? Like, the 2-day, you would just have to hope, like, hopefully that, you would expect that to cross into the red. You're just hoping for the fake out. I can't say that's impossible, but that's the reason why I'm being very careful around these retracements, because, we've seen times where you've come up, gotten the lackluster retracement for lower highs and lower lows. As a matter of fact, I was looking at this earlier today. Like, even back here, it was very similar, but more similarly, like up here, right? And we've actually compared this price action to previous tops that we've looked at, right? So I'll just pull this like this, right? And I'll drag this over to our current price action. It just to kind of show you guys how sometimes these tops can form, right? I'm not saying this has to play out exactly like this, but it just gives you the idea of try to size this up, right? I'm not going to try to get it perfect. Again, I wouldn't expect it to play out exactly like this, but it's very similar, right? It's like you get up in the top, you start to range around, and once you break down out of that range, you could go for that lower high, reject the high, or reject the fib, and then come down for a much bigger move to the downside. And not that I expect this to play out exactly like this, of course, but what's actually really funny is if we actually have a lot of support down here. So again, nothing about this makes me think that like that's what's going to happen, but it is interesting that this comes down right into the next significant area of support that we have here on the higher time frames on our horizontal levels, which is down here between like $85,000 and $80,000. Which just happens to be where that fractal comes down to. Again, not something I would be looking at for a move, but it's just kind of the same thing, right? It's like you get up here. I'll come on down to like the daily, right? You come up, you start forming some kind of a wonked out range, right? Bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, right? But then once you start losing it, it's like you come up. You have to be careful of those lower highs. Now, you can see here on the daily, money flow was nice and clean, right? You had a massive green wave, and then you crossed into the red for the big drop down. 2-day money flow was in a nice clean wave, and it was very smoothly trending out, right? The 2-day here is just like not as clean, right? It's not like we're just cleanly trending out. It's like you came down, you almost crossed over, now you're back up, you're kind of flat. So it's just the signals are not as clear. But even if I were to like draw this out, right? If I was looking at this on live price action, it's like, let's just pretend we're sitting up here, right? This would be just as tense of a situation, right? We'd be sitting here and we're like, oh my God, Bitcoin just made a new all-time high. Let's pull a volume profile. This probably won't populate because I'm in bar replay mode. Let me try to get this to populate real quick. So I'll just draw this out, right? So you would be looking at this volume profile, maybe something like this. Right, so here's your volume profile. And I'll come back into bar replay mode so we can make it a little bit more realistic, right? Maybe you're getting the bounce and a pullback like we're having right now. But where would I be looking, right? If I see money flow coming out like this on a higher time frame like the 2-day or the daily, right, what am I being cautious of? Well, I'm being cautious of like, hey, guys, we are tapping into a golden pocket, potential lower high. If it doesn't come in here, it might come in on the 786, right? This is almost the exact same situation, right? Or, you know, relative to this price action, this is kind of what we'd be looking at, right? It's like, all right, well, we came back down, we got back into the range, we're pushing up, but we still have to be careful around that golden pocket 786 for a lower high and lower low. Why? Well, you had your money flow coming out. And again, this was much cleaner, much clearer. You have your VWAP coming down, money flow coming out. You don't have that right now, right? So it's just like not super confident, but you have to entertain it as an idea, right? And then you get another push up. Let's see where this got rejected. I actually don't know. I thought maybe we wicked above the 786, but what happens, right? That is the area where you get the lower high and you get that lower low to come in, right? And this comparatively would be similar to where that 50-week moving average is. So it's a very similar situation is pretty much the point that I'm getting at, right? If we come back over to the current price action, right, it's like, well, there's the range, right? There's our volume profile. Right? And it's like, cool, we're in the profile. We can look for a rotation of the high, but where is that big key level that we're looking at for resistance? Between the golden pocket and the 786. So, like, that's why I say even if we get up here, it's like you still have to be careful of the lower highs and the lower lows. Because just like this is the doorway to all-time highs, it would have been the same thing back here, right? It would have been the exact same analysis. It would have been like, hey, guys, we got to be careful with money flow coming out around this golden pocket 786 because that could be the lower high before the lower low, right? Or if we get above that 786, well, hey, now we can look for all-time highs. But it's an if this, then that, right? Like you can come up and tap this level. It's not until you get above it and flip it where you can start entertaining the idea of the push up. And again, money flow is much cleaner here coming to the downside. So it's not even like we have this. This is why I'm not like just full on, oh my God, the top is in bear market either, right? Because it's just very hard to call for that. Or even just like a big dump, right? It's like we just have to be aware of it. It's like money flow's not smoothly coming out, but it's also not showing us what we want to see for a massive explosion to the upside. And that's kind of why I've been a little bit more neutral recently of just kind of like, can we see a new all-time high? Yes, but you kind of just need this stuff to fake out, right? That's why I say like I need to just see it. Because there's nothing really confidently calling in either direction, at least on the higher time frame money flow. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's see. Let me jump back in the chat. Shout out to Henderson. Shout out to you, man. I like that name. Says, hey, bro, what's your TA on Sol? Let's take a look at some of the altcoins, guys. Let me just come down to a lower time frame, get an idea of what Bitcoin is doing here. All right, yeah. I mean, I will be honest, right? Like pulling up the previous volume profile here. Like we tapped the golden pocket, a little bit of relief as we talked about, right? Not that we've come up much higher, but maybe we see a little bit more relief. But like, again, the signals here and money flow, low time frame, I just don't know if that's going to be the bottom, right? Like it would look a lot cleaner if we can maybe come back up, maybe reject the anchored VWAP, put in a lower low into your key levels, right? That would be a little bit better because maybe you can actually have some divergences form there. When we push down here, right, you don't have any 15-minute bull divs. I did take an aggressive long entry there. But it was off the top of the key level. But for like the big move up, right? And again, the idea is off some relief. If it turns into something bigger, that's great. But it's like if I were to have the 15-minute bull div down here, I would feel a lot better about this being a big pump to the upside and not just relief. But because we don't have those signals, I'm going to look at this as potentially lackluster for a push a little bit deeper, because that could set us up for some nice bullish divergences for a bigger push back to the upside. So we'll see what happens. I think that long is in profit. I'm going to have to check it on my phone real quick. Let's see here. Oh, I got a scam call, I think. Sorry, I'm busy on my live stream, scammer. Please leave me alone. Let me see here. Come on. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's up a little bit. It's up 1%, guys. Pretty much a break even. I would consider that break even. But let's see. Okay, so let's take a quick look. I'm not going to cover dominance today, guys. I cover dominance every day. There's no update here, right? I'm not going to cover dominance, pulls up dominance. Just still chugging to the upside here with the daily money flow coming into the green. We still have our major key levels of resistance here. You know, you could just scrub. You could go to any live stream we've done in the past month, you know, or 2 months, right? Like we've talked about all these levels. You can just, I'm not going to cover this too much, but next local level of resistance sitting between 60.48 and 61.47. That's all I'll say there. Coming into Ethereum, we looked at this yesterday, guys. Same thing, or kind of same thought process as Bitcoin, right? We had our local volume profile. We were able to push above this on Ethereum. We broke out. We tested the key level of resistance. This was the same target that we had on Bitcoin from like a structure perspective. Bitcoin pushed into the $115,000 daily. Ethereum pushed into the previous value area low POC zone. We get the rejection. We talked about these support levels yesterday. This is the first opportunity to look for a bounce. If we get stuck back in here, well, guess what? We're now back inside this volume profile, and it does open up the door as long as we live inside of this value area high. And I can get rid of this blue box because it did not offer any support whatsoever. If we get stuck underneath here, right, like we're losing the anchored VWAP again. If we can't get back outside of this value area high, well, guess what? Next target is probably going to be the POC sitting at 38.40. Lose the POC. We're looking down to the value area low. Golden pocket confluence. This has already been tapped many times. I typically like to see this hold the first time for a low, a higher low, and a higher high. This has now been tapped. So it's kind of just like a ranging situation at this point. So for the volume profile on Ethereum, value area high, I'll actually mark this out. Value area high sitting at 4,055. You have your POC sitting right here at 38.35, and then you have your value area low sitting here at about 37.75. If you break below this golden pocket, the last place to bounce, again, get stuck in here. POC is the next likely place for price to go. Lose the POC, value area lows right underneath you. Maybe the golden pocket acts as support for a third time, right? Yeah, maybe it'll act as support for a third time. Again, I don't necessarily anticipate that usually. Typically, I will look, right, like this golden pocket's already given us a bounce, If we come down there again, I would prefer to see this lost and tap into the 786. And then this will be a situation where you're deviating below the profile. At that point, you have to reclaim your value area low here to see another push up. If you can't hold this 786, very similar to Bitcoin, we lose the 786 at 106,200. We are going to be looking down to 102K. If we lose this 786 at 36.24, next key level of support is the macro support on your macro value area high. Still remains the same. We're just now broken back down into this profile. So if you want to move up from where we are now, you got to get above this value area high. And really, you just got to get above all this resistance, right? Even if you get back in here, you still have the POC above you. As long as we remain inside this range, my targets remain 38.37 and 37.72, all the way down to about 36.19. If we can get back above there, the biggest level to get above is $4,300. If we get above 4,300, we can start looking at some of those higher targets. So that's what I'd be looking at on Ethereum. I will say, at least here on the 4 hour, I mean, maybe if you get a bounce here, again, this is, money flows starting to come out here, so, don't take this with a grain of salt. It's like I'm not trading based off this, but if you do get a bounce here, this 4 hour does look like if you can get that green dot and you do get out of the profile to put in a higher high, I would be careful around this $4,300 zone, because what that'll allow you to do is come up and put in a 4 hour bearish divergence. Of course, I'd have to look at price as we push in there, but just looking at this momentum wave live with you guys, I could just see sometimes when these momentum waves set up like this, it does look like it could form a bearish divergence. And if that is the case, you would be looking for a break of structure to the upside. But I would just wait for that to happen. I'm not going to make a call. I'm not going to make I'm not going to take a position based off that, right? It's just trying to identify what we might be able to see in the future. And if we see it set up tomorrow, I will just come up here and be like, hey, guys, remember last night? Lower high, higher high, and now we have that 4-hour bearish divergence. Maybe we get another correction. So we'll keep an eye on this. But, yeah, as long as we remain in this profile, that's the roadmap. If you get back up in here, you can just look at the upper profile with your POC at 4,300, value area high at 4,651. And, of course, we have the 786 sitting here at 4,476, which is also very important to get above. So we'll see what happens here. And, again, money flow just I wish there was a clearer signal here, right? At least Ethereum a little less choppy on the money flow, in the red, in the green, back in the red. Because, like this last pop-up, we got a fake out. I mean, if you just kind of viewed this as a solid red wave, right, ignoring the fake out, looks a little cleaner than Bitcoin, right, if we can get that next crossover into the green. But you have the red dot coming in. So, again, stay inside this profile. If you can't break out of this profile, guys, I'm looking for the continuation down. Again, doesn't mean bear market or anything. It's just local price action, local movements here. Let's see. Shout out to TDK, said, want to see something interesting? Check out the 5-day chart on Heiken, Nashi candles on MCB. On Bitcoin or on Ethereum? Let's check the 5-day. I don't see anything super exciting here, at least on Ethereum. Let's check Bitcoin real quick. You do have the 5-day green dot on Bitcoin. Again, money flow attempting to come up here, but you're just hoping for that fake out. Generally this is trending down, like even like over time, right? It's like, if you're having trouble understanding, like sometimes money flow is just chopped, but if you're having trouble identifying like if money flow is trending out or trending up, right, just pull a trend line, right? Like it's trending out over time, right? So like even if you get a little pop up here, if you just put in another lower high, it might just continue to trend out over time. So yeah, I mean 5-day green dots, this could also help the bigger move through the profile, which is the hopeful case. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, like very difficult time in the market here, guys. I mean, if you're learning how to trade and you are struggling right now, do not feel bad. This is a very hard environment to navigate. Let's see. Market Cipher A. He's talking about Market Cipher A on the 5-day. 5-day blood diamond. 2 5-day blood diamonds up here. Maybe on Ethereum. No, nothing on Ethereum. Interesting. Maybe you're talking about those blood diamonds. But yeah, I mean, blood diamonds are typically bearish. That is true. Sometimes when they come in pairs like this, they do. Blood diamonds play out one of two ways, right? Like either they pop up like as you're dumping, or sometimes you do get a situation like this. It's weird because we put a new high in here. But sometimes you will see them flash, and sometimes they foreshadow a dump coming in. Again, not something I would just like directly trade based off of, but they are there. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll keep you guys updated every step of the way here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. But let's see. Yeah, shout out to Nicholas Perry. He says, very hard market to trade, LOL. Never seen it like this. Legendary Halo mode. Yeah, shout out to, the market's on hard mode right now. Like, literally, guys, the short position that I took, like, just to break down. And now this isn't really necessary. The reason I did not come on down to a lower time frame here, pull up the local range. Right, like the reason I did not take the original short up here had nothing to do with how hard the market was. Honestly, this is one of the cleaner setups or cleaner confirmations that we have, but it obviously happened at 2:30 a.m., which I am not typically up at that time. But the like even up here, right? Like trying to get an entry in here, I literally was looking at the order flow and caught this entry. My entry is, I'll mark it out exactly, right? Like my entry here, like it was an absolute snipe. Right, where is 114, 613? It was literally right here, right? We start losing this range, just to give you a little bit of insight here, right? Like, to get in here, it is not often. Typically, we're waiting for the setup. I get in, right, and we just, like, let price play out here. But for me, I, again, did not take this position, so I needed to get in somewhere on a retracement. For me to catch this trade, I was reading the order flow live, spotted early longs with liquidity down below, and took an aggressive, basically a breakout trade, right? Now, I don't just trade breakouts on, oh my God, it's dumping, let me enter, right? I'm literally identifying the late or the early longs here and understanding that their liquidity is very likely going to be below where, right? If people are longing here, where their stop loss is going to go. Well, an easy way to do this is just to put a long position, right? Like if they're whatever targeting up here, where their stop loss is going to be. It's going to be below this low, it's going to be below this low, or maybe even below these lows, right? Depending on leverage, risk, etc. Liquidation, all that liquidity is going to be sitting below. I spotted that live, entered the trade literally, I want to say seconds before the dump. My entry is at 114,613. It was like literally right here before we saw all those liquidations come in. And you can even see here on ExoCharts, if I pull it up real quick, just to show you, right? I'll pull it up on a little bit of a lower time frame. You can actually see, right? You can view these liquidations coming in real time, right? So you see them coming in here about 114.6, like right where I entered, right? And you're saying, well, hey, I have a lot of longs entering here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you could see, well, if there's stops here, stops there, and down below, what happens? If we start pushing down, right, which Market Cipher B was pointing towards, right? I was also using Market Cipher B here, had a 5-minute money flow. Crossing into the red here, right, giving the early signal for a continuation down. Money flow indicates the overall trend, but overall, like, it doesn't call the little blips up, right, but it will call that overall trend. 5-minute money flow crossover with an 80-minute red dot, right? That is a Market Cipher B bearish setup. There's the red dot, right? Those are happening at the same time. That is part of the reason why I was looking for a move down, saying those longs are early. They might get spanked. And I am entering literally right before the drop. Right? Very aggressive entry here, but not just like a FOMO breakout trade, right? I was actually in just above where that started dumping. It kind of was magic. I was like, all right, here's my thesis. I'm going to take the counter entry on this trader. I'm going to counter trade that idea of taking the early longs here. I enter, and then it's just like, boom, 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 boom. I was like, oh, okay. All right, nice. We were right. And the reason I pulled up ExoCharts was to show you, you can actually see on the rec bubbles, look at all those liquidations. That was my thought, right? I'm like, well, hey, if all these people are going to get stopped out, right? And you also have longs from here, right? All stop losses also going to be below. I'm like, hopefully we can liquidate those people or stop them out, and I can make some money on that trade, and then we'd start dumping. Boop, 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 boop. We get exactly what we want. But, I mean, if you're not doing something like that, like super hard trade to catch, right? Very super, super hard trade to catch. And I tried to update the Mafia, but by the time I got it in there, it's like we already gotten the fast drop to the downside. So it's like double time here. We're like, they're overworking us here on the charts. Let's see. And then, of course, pulling this as a volume profile just to add on top of that, right? You have your little volume profile here, right? At that point, it's like you're breaking down out of your range. You're losing your range as well with money flow coming out. So even if you view this as a typical volume profile, whoops. There we go. What do you have, right? Your 5-minute, your 3-minute. We have the low time frame Market Cipher B strategies playing out, but it's like, well, hey, money flow is continuing out. Am I anticipating a bounce off the value area low and a rotation back up? Probably not. Why? Well, what I would want to see here on a lower time frame is money flow in the red crossing into the green to indicate that trend will continue up to fill that whole profile. A lot of people ask me, Frankie, how do you know whether price is going to, the shorts and longs from the value area low and the value area high? I'm trading that. I'm making money. It's slapping. I love it. But how do you know when eventually it's going to break down or break up? Well, oftentimes, I mean, this is a low time frame example on a hyper local range, but you're going to use money flow, right? Like if I wanted a big move up for a rotation through here, right, I would hope that you have money flow in the red crossing into the green. We have the opposite, right? We have money flow looking for a lower high and a lower low. Money flow is coming out. That indicates that you could lose the range. Another part of the analysis there that made me look for that short. But very aggressive. Like I have to be very aggressive to get in there. So very difficult market, 100%. It is literally Halo on legendary mode. Hopefully not going to last much longer there. It doesn't stop us, but shout out to Poita said, I was so close. Shout out to Born from Chaos said, you guys think it's going to climb back up to 115K at this point? Well, when I look at this, if I'm looking for relief, right, well, where are the major levels? I mean, even on a super low time frame here, but I'll even pull up like a 15-minute, right? I'm going to pull the local Fibonacci retracements. Your hyper local sits between 113.3 all the way up to 113.6. If you wanted to go to some of these bigger Fibonacci retracements, again, this one is confluent with your value area low. There's your, there's your golden pocket value area low confluence at about 114.689, 114.6 to 114.7. And then, of course, that 786 comes into play as well. But if we go up for that this Fibonacci retracement, the full Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low, right? Well, that bring you around into between about 114 and 115K, of course. Again, I would rather see a new low there, honestly, for a bigger trade with bullish divergences, right? We don't really have a ton of like significant confirmations that there's no 15-minute bull div. All you have down here really is like super hyper local, super low time frame bullish divergences, right? Of course, we tapped into the golden pocket as well. I'll pull that up real quick, right? And it was a long setup in the premium Discord. Actually, I think I have it popped up here. Right here, right? Like literally have that setup waiting down there. Now, again, super low time frame entry. I would not be surprised if I get stopped out of this, though, right? Because, again, I'm not expecting a big move up, just looking at that as some kind of a scalp for a retracement, and then hopefully we can get a bigger drop down, get some medium time frame confirmations, maybe a 15-minute bull div or something like that. Tap into the value area low, maybe deviate below, and get some kind of a better confirmation for a bigger move up, right? If it winds up being a bigger move up, well, hey, we'll just let that continue to play out. But I would not be surprised. If I get stopped out of this, I'll just look for another entry on some better confirmations. So there you go. Little breakdown of the trades and exactly what I look for to enter this stuff, guys. Yo, shout out to Nicholas, says, fresh WoW Classic Warrior, level 60, no gear, PvP arena. Shout out to Nicholas. Let's go. We're playing, what's the name of it? GoldenEye. We're playing GoldenEye with the golden bullets. But anyway, let's continue on here. We took a look at ETH. Let's take a quick look at Solana here, guys. Over on the alt chart, bada boom, bada bing. Still holding, right? Still holding right on top of your 786, right? So value area high coming in as support here. Obviously, we had broken above that yesterday. This is a very important level to stay above. Solana's in a bit of a peculiar situation here, guys, with our lower volume profile as well as our upper volume profile. The value area high of this range is right on the value area low of the upper range. So you're literally at the decision moment here. It's like if you could stay in here, you could look to maybe continue up towards the POC at 216 and continue up to the value area high, but you're literally playing with fire. You are dancing on the edge, right? Because if you get the drop down, get stuck in this profile, once you wind up losing this anchored VWAP 786, I'm looking for the bigger drop down on Solana. And we are literally right on the doorway to higher prices and the doorway to lower prices. Money flow from a daily perspective, VWAP coming down. Money flow tried to come back into the green, but generally this is trending out. So from a binary perspective, I would have to say this money flow is coming out. Doesn't mean it can't fake out, right? It could fake out, but more often than not, I would have to classify this as money flow coming out. 16-hour money flow tried to come back into the green. Like literally can't take anything away from that. It's like just counter indicating what this is showing. 12-hour. Back in the green, coming back out, just like really nothing to take away from there. 10-hour got rejected at the 0 line. 4-hour money flow is still pretty deep in the green here. So, again, it's like I am medium-term neutral here, to be honest, right? Because it's like, is this green dot going to keep this money flow in the green for a higher high? Maybe, right? But if we got to drop down and get stuck under this 786, I mean, the line in the sand for Solana, in my opinion, is 176.61. If we can't hold these lows, guys, I'm going to be looking down closer to fill this wick in full and target the POC at about $142. Value area low sits at 133. If we hold support here and we get the big bounce, 215 is the POC in the next stop, right? Plain and simple. Again, I wish there were clear signs on market side for beam. I don't control what the signals are. I'm just here showing you guys. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Let's see a lower time frame. I mean, you are at, obviously, support here. But you could just see value area low, value area high. Doorway to higher prices, doorway to lower prices. So even the same thing as Bitcoin, right? It's like, I mean, you're at support. Maybe you get a bounce. But again, it's like, do you have any significant confirmations here? I mean, there's no 15-minute bull divs. No 30-minute bull divs. I would much prefer to see maybe a little retracement and then a new low to come in for a better bounce. But again, get stuck underneath here. Last level of defense at $176. So that's what I would look at on Solana. If you want to get these ranges on your chart, the lower range is value area high 193, POC 141.55, value area low 132.81. Upper range, value area low or doorway to higher prices. You're attempting to hold on top of here. Like, this is not necessarily bad. But once you lose it, it starts to get sketchy, right? Value area low comes in at 192.75. POC coming in at 216.63, which is confluent with the local 786. And then you have your value area high sitting up here at 248.66. You have your full Fibonacci 786 retracement here at 230, but I would look at that as, I mean, it's definitely key. So that comes in at 230.60. Value area high, 248.66. So we'll see what happens. You know, are we just going to get another rotation of this range? Got the rotation from the high, from the low to the high, from the high to the low. Breakdown. Are we going to get another rotation up? It's very hard to say. Medium time frame money flow on the 4-hour might be calling for that. Daily looks a little bit more sketchy. 2-day looks a little bit. 2-day doesn't look that bad, but the daily looks, yeah, I don't know. It's mixed signals, guys. 2-day money flow. It's like I have to deal with this stuff too, right? It's like, well, 2-day money flow is trending up. Daily money flow is trending down. It's like, what do I do with that, right? Well, just sometimes there's just not a clear signal, right? That just is what it is. Let's see. I bet that POC is going to get tapped at 2 a.m. Yeah, probably, Lucia, if I had to guess. I don't know what it is. For the past couple of weeks, Bitcoin just sets up on all of our trades like late at night, and I'm always having to like jump into a retracement. Let's see. All right, so we covered Solana, Ethereum, dominance. Let's take a quick look at XRP. Not a super big update here, but obviously, guys, as we've been looking at XRP over the past couple of weeks, we are approaching, is this our chart? Yeah, I'll take this one's a little bit of an easier viewpoint. This is the simplest way I can view this, right? Major resistance between 270 and 283. Is this going to be a retracement? Again, now daily money flow doesn't look bad on XRP if I'm being honest. VWAP is coming down, so maybe you get dragged out a little bit more, but you know, generally your money flow is trending up. Doesn't look that bad. I do have to say, no bull divs or anything like that, so that is what it is. But at the end of the day, guys, for XRP, 270 to 283, like this is the big level, right? Even if we push up higher, we're rejecting the local 786 right now, but like this is your resistance, right? This could be a lower high situation to come down and put in a lower low. Maybe that's able to give you some kind of a, right? Maybe the red dot prints, maybe your momentum wave comes down, gives you some kind of a nice bullish divergence on the daily, but you know, we have to wait for that to potentially pop up. But this is the resistance, right? Until we wind up getting back above here and flipping this to support, I'm going to be very careful, right? And at the end of the day, even if we push up to the range highs, sometimes you can see this, right? And especially with our 786 sitting up here, our macro 786, even if you get above here, you have the anchored VWAP, you have the POC, and then even if you get above there, it's like that, the doorway to higher prices for XRP is getting above this value area high 786. So like until we see that, right? And again, daily money flow doesn't look super bad. You would hope if you get back into this range, that money flow can continue into the green, right? That would be very nice. But, you know, let's take a look at the 5-day. I mean, this looks terrible, right, on XRP, right? This would indicate macro higher, lower high for a macro lower low, right? So maybe it comes in here. If not, the last place to look is that 786 value area high. Until we get above that, I cannot I have to take this into account until we basically see this. I wish there was a clean signal, right? I wish we were, you know, tapped into a major key level of support. Maybe, you know, maybe this is a good level, but where's the bullish divergences, right? Where's the signals? Doesn't mean you can't get the move. It's just like I can't call for it based off the charts, right? Like when I come up here, I don't just say what I think is going to happen because it's what I want to happen, right? I'm just reading the information and giving it to you raw, right? Giving it to you guys raw. But yeah, I mean that's what I'm doing, right? If I had a reason to be like, oh my God, massive daily bull divs, money flow coming up on every time frame, like look for all-time highs, I would be able to say that, but I just can't because the signals are not here. Let's see. Shout out to Tube and Jar. Says, when caramel black hat restock? At Tony D, are we out of the caramel and black? Or this is, oh no, this is not. I think it's caramel and navy blue, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. Are we out of stock on that, Tony? Did we run out of hats? We give them away too much. Shout out to XCal. Raw dog's crazy, bro. But there you go, right? We're just still pressing up against this resistance, right? We'll keep an eye on this. We just got to wait, see if we can get above there, and then we can start to look at some higher prices, but it's not until we get above there where I'll be looking for all-time highs. So I'm just slamming our head on this resistance, taking a look at some of the lower time frames. Yeah, I mean, you got your 4-hour bearish divergences. 2-hour bearish divergences. Where's that 4-hour again? Let's check the 8-hour. I'm looking for fresh red dots here on the higher time frames, guys. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Daily red dot. Let's check that 80 and 90-minute money flow. So I say the next thing to look at here for a continuation down on XRP, if you are going to continue a downtrend here, right? Well, the actual level to look at locally would be either this Golden Pocket 786, which is your full retracement, or like even this local one. I'll just drag this down, right? This would be the zone to look at for the lower high. If you get a lower high in here, well, guess what? Lower high, 80-minute money flow coming out, 90-minute money flow coming out. Well, when we have a daily red dot looking to print, if this daily red dot prints, all eyes on this 80 and 90-minute money flow. If that red dot is printing, we put in a lower high here, whether we dump from here or push up in here. If you see that 80-minute money flow and 90-minute money flow crossing into the red with that daily red dot, it would indicate to me that the overall trend based off the 80 and 90-minute is going to continue down for a potential low, lower high, lower low, lower high. I would look at that 80 and 90-minute money flow to continue that drop to the downside if the daily red dot is printing at the same time, right? So daily red dot prints, you're going down to the 90-minute or the 80-minute looking for that money flow crossing over, and typically that 80 or 90-minute money flow crossover is going to indicate that continuation of the downside. Almost exactly what I looked at for my local entry into the Bitcoin short today, just on a way lower time frame, right? There's your 5-minute money flow crossover. The 16th time frame for that is the 80-minute. I have the 80-minute red dot printing. I have the 5-minute money flow cross into the red. I'm looking for lower highs, and that indeed does start the bigger trend to the downside. So same thing, same strategy. So that's what I would be looking at on XRP, or SERP, as some people like to call it. Can we take a look at SNX? Yeah, I'll try to take a look at SNX, no problemo. Frankie should wear a Scooby-Doo costume for Halloween, for the Halloween stream. I don't know. I should dress up. I should dress up for this Halloween. Should I dress up as like a McDonald's worker? Maybe we should do that. I think that'd be funny. Panda the Prophet, if you dress up like a McDonald's, I still have my uniform. Because you guys know, ever since Bitcoin dumped, had to get that job at McDonald's. So I'll just wear my uniform. Gold. Oh, yeah, let's take a quick look at gold here. So gold continuing the pullback here slightly. And actually did pull a new Fibonacci extension, a bigger Fibonacci extension. So I'm just going to hide these local levels for now. Not that they're not important, right? But this is pulled all the way back here from 2011, from this high to the low of about 2015, right? Basically been in essentially a bull market ever since. A ton of consolidation, but now obviously this would be considered the bull market. But we have come into this last Fibonacci extension level. Now, I can't guarantee this is going to be the top for gold, but not super shocking that you're getting the rejection there. When we look at Market Cipher B, obviously it's a lot less choppy than it is on Bitcoin. But if we take a look at the daily money flow, I mean, it also moves a lot different on something like gold than it does on crypto, because Bitcoin goes up and way down a lot more than gold does. Gold is kind of grinding to the upside, so your daily money flow has been in the green forever here. Little fake out into the red right there. But you could argue you're starting to get a little trend to the downside here on your daily money flow. Nothing to write home about, just a initial kind of observation there. 12-hour starting to come out here. 10-hour starting to come out. 8-hour coming out. 4-hour money flow about to cross into the red. So you would think, right, very similarly, like this 4-hour money flow crossover into the red could continue your lower highs and lower lows, right? So you could say it looks a little bit more bearish. But again, gold's a little different, right? Gold money flow does behave a lot differently on gold. I mean, if it just keeps scamming to the upside like it has been, maybe it fakes out. But this money flow is coming out, so you could potentially look for a bigger retracement down there. So we'll see. But yeah, nice rejection off that major Fibonacci extension. And I will just pull up those local ones again as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. As far as key levels of support, money flow coming out. Maybe you could start a little bit of a trend down here. That would maybe give Bitcoin a little bit of room to move up. But key support, I mean, this thing's just been essentially grinding to the upside. I mean, you could pull it from like the start of the move. I mean, right down in here, 37.28. That'd be a big level of support. I'm not guaranteeing you get down there, but that is kind of the first significant Fibonacci retracement I would look at. Yeah, this is the one that you're popping right now. So we can look at this as local support. If you lose that 786, I would just be looking down towards, whoops. Come on. I'd be looking down towards this bigger zone here between about 37.19 and 35.48. But right now you're pushing into a golden pocket 786, so maybe you get a little relief. But if that money flow is going to play out, maybe you get a lower high and then a lower low into those bigger levels. But that's what I would be looking at on gold. Do I think my strategy would work for Forex? I don't have a lot of experience testing it in Forex, so I can't like definitively say. But yeah, I mean, the idea of my trading strategy, right, trading the volume profiles, should work on any asset, right? All it really is when you're trading the volume profiles, it is you're just trading. It's like a mean reversion, right? It's like when I look at this, we are simply right. The last short that we caught right here before the news came out, right? We took the short from here in anticipation of coming to the POC, going back down to the value area low. Obviously, you got the big liquidation wick, but price settles on that value area low. So the thought process for that trade is, hey, this is overvalued price. It is outside of the fair value. If you're new here, these volume profiles, essentially you could think of it as inside of the volume profile or just inside of this range is the fair value, right? People accept that this is a reasonable price for the asset. Right? When it deviates above, we look at that as overbought, right? Or expensive. That's why I say we look to short the value area highs. This is why I don't breakout trade, right? More often than not, if you're seeing a big pump and you're like, oh my God, it's a breakout, let me buy, right? Oftentimes you're going to get stuck on those fake outs. You're going to get trapped and you're going to get wrecked. What do? We look for shorts at the highs. Why? Because I'm looking at this as I know relative to the recent price action, this is overvalued. The fair value is inside the range. And more specifically, the fairest price, you could say, is the point of control. So very high probability once you get into this range to go at least to the POC, if not to rotate the value in full. Until you deviate below the low, this is now undervalued or cheap or oversold. This is where you want to look for longs, right? And here was like a perfect opportunity. You had beautiful bullish divergences here, just looking at the 90-minute randomly here, right? You have your 90-minute bullish divergences. You have momentum coming up, price action coming down. That's the discrepancy, which causes the reversal. And then you look to come back into the range. Once you get into the value area low, you're looking for that next tap of the POC, and you can see that was the exact level that we rejected. And again, you don't always 100% of the time get the full fill, but it is very high probability you'll at least get to the POC. And why is that? Well, you're undervalued, and then price is just naturally seeking fair value. And if the fairest value is the POC, I could say if I'm buying it down here, if I use this analogy, right? Think of any product, right? iPhone. If iPhones typically sell, just for easy math, between $100 and $200, that's the fair price, right? When it is $50, I probably want to buy some iPhones because I know that they're typically going to go back to selling at their normal fair value, which is call it 150 in the middle of the range. So I'm buying it for 50, selling it for 150, and if I know that price always seeks out fair value, that's how I can say to myself, this is undervalued. Let me buy this cheap, and then expect it to go into the fair value. Now, of course, you can't just long below the value area low and short above the value area high. Now, you could argue that it'll play out more than it won't, but of course you're looking for the confirmations. You're looking for, you're looking at the money flow. You're looking at the price action. You need to have a reason. You have to understand the context. But just from like a base case here, would it work on Forex? I mean, it'd be the same thing, right? It's just like undervalued. You're looking for it to trade back into fair value, right? It's overvalued. You're looking for it to trade back down into fair value, into the range. Same thing here. Deviation, cheap. You're looking to trade that back into the fair value. But keep in mind, look at your 4-hour money flow, right? Or 90-minute money flow too. But your 4-hour money flow was crossing into the green, right? Making it very probable that you would see the full rotation, right? 4-hour money flow crosses here. You get the full rotation. You're already expecting a hopeful full rotation, right? But your money flow is headed in the right direction on the 4-hour and even on the lower time frames as you start flipping that value area low. Look at your 90-minute money flow. That's indicating the trend is going to continue up at least on the 90-minute. So you're good for at least a little bit of a continuation up. And then when you start chopping up into those higher time frames, well, now the 4 hours following along. Now we've gotten that trend up on the 90-minute money flow. Well, now the 4-hour money flow is trending up. Let's keep cooking to the upside, right? And then what happens? You get above the value area high. This is like free sauce, guys. overvalued. This is where we took the short and the premium, right? In anticipation of going where? Back into the fair value. TP1 at the POC, TP2 at the value area low, and of course this one wound up paying us out a lot more as we saw that 4-hour money flow crossing into the red, so we look for a lower high and a lower low, and we held that for some extra gains. So of course you have to incorporate other things into this, but for the most part, right, like it's just like a mean reversion trade, so it should work on anything, in my opinion. Shout out to Kirchmeyer. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you so much. He says, for the Solana network to function, it needs Jupiter, which processes 80% of its transactions and is still at the bottom at a bottom price. Study this gem. Shout out to Kirchmeyer. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that. But yeah, we can take a look at Jupe. I'm going to take a look at SNX real quick. I think we looked at this recently. Just try to find my synthetics chart. Do I not have a synthetics chart? I thought we literally marked this out the other day. Maybe not. I might be tripping. I think I'm tripping. All right, well, I'll just take a look at this. Let me just make sure I got all the price action. There we go. All right, so, man, this thing made a new low. Oh, my God. Brutal, 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 brutal. I'm not going to mark this out in full just to save time. I thought I had a chart on this. I could have sworn. But here's your upper profile. I'd be inclined probably to pull it from here. So here's your local profile. Look at that rejection on the POC. You can't make it up, guys. These are not just like magical random horizontal lines. The reason I love the volume profiles and the reason they're so accurate, right? You can see like literal rejection off the value area high. My box isn't even as accurate, right? The level is, right? Right into the value area high. Lose the range. You get a push back up. What are you rejecting here? Literally the POC, right? The strongest level within the profile. Got your high, got your value area low. So I'll just give you this context, right? Was this confluent with your... I assume this was a golden pocket 786 on that POC. There it is, right into that golden pocket. So if we had been looking at this, or if I think we looked at this recently, I could almost guarantee you if I could find that chart, it looks like this. I don't know, when did we come up here, though? Maybe not. This is from a while ago. But just to kind of show you guys, right, like you deviate below the range, right? Once you start impulsing back to the upside, right, price is going to seek out fair value. Where's the fairest value? Right on the point of control. This isn't just random lines, right? Like there's actual logic that goes behind this analysis, right? That's why I love this. It's not just like some arbitrary pattern or shape on the chart, right? It is literally based off volume, right? That's why a lot of these calls are just so accurate. It's like it has a lot. The volume profiles are the crystal ball. But I mean, this is the range that you got to get accepted back into, unfortunately, right? You're getting a pretty harsh rejection from it right now. Your value area low is sitting at 204. Your POC is sitting at 257, and your value area high is sitting at 363. And this isn't even really the... Yeah, I mean, this is definitely what I would look at, right? Until you wind up getting up, filling this range in full and getting a bigger breakout. Once you do that, you could start to entertain the fact of maybe coming back up in here, attacking some of this upper value, but, you know, you're pretty far away from that, so I'm not going to go super deep into that. And then I will just give you some, like, local levels of support. No monthlies. You do have a weekly down here. You have a weekly right up here. Whoops. Confluent with your value area high. Let's pull this. So this is definitely, like, if you do get back to the top of that range, that's going to be important resistance. Already rejecting your golden pocket here. Yeah, so these are If you do get another push up here, these are the key levels of resistance I would look at. Value area low, local golden pocket 786 retracement. Got to get above there in order to push up through the profile. And then once you get here, this is super key. Once you get out of this, then you can start talking about higher prices, potentially getting accepted into that upper value. But again, you're very far away from that, so I won't cover it in detail. But yeah, you do have your weekly sitting down here. You have another weekly. Nope, that weekly's tapped. Never mind. Got a daily level right here. Daily level there. That's tapped. That's tapped. That's tapped. And you got a daily right on that weekly as well. So there you go. Local support is going to be, only thing I can see on the chart right now is the daily at 93 cents. Maybe it's confluent with your golden pocket. All right, it's confluent with your 786. This is ran through. So there's your local support. Whoops. There we go. So now you have a little bit of context. Major resistance sitting between, you can incorporate the daily starting at $1.61, but the major confluent zone of resistance is going to be between $1.79 and $2.16. All right, so that would be kind of where I would be looking at for a potential lower high before coming lower. If you come down first, this is your first, and this is the first level that I can see. Value area high, 786, daily support, right? That would be local support. Once you break down below that 786, to be quite honest with you, I'd be looking to get accepted into this range. POC right on top of the value area low, making the fairest value at the bottom of this range. So once you lose about 94 cents, I'd be looking down to about 64 to 61 cents, right? And then once you get back down to that the bottom of that volume profile, maybe you bounce. If not, you could deviate below and potentially hold on top of those local levels down here. Or I'm sorry, weekly and daily horizontal levels down here. So that's kind of the profile viewpoint if you get the move to the downside. Hopefully you can get the bounce here, but I'd be careful with this daily money flow crossing into the red, right? This is obviously indicating a continuation of the downtrend. Get accepted below here, look to fill the profile in full. You got the backup support at 50 cents. And then if you get the push up first, looking at $1.79 to $2.16 for your key resistance. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you out. Probably weren't expecting that, were ya? But there you go. I didn't plan on marking out that whole chart, but there you go. Free sauce, baby. Free sauce. Smash that like button if you appreciate the free value that we give here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. Let's see. Jupiter. Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at Jupiter real quick. Well, okay. All right. Well, Jupiter back inside its profile. And again, just showing there's your undervalued, but obviously massive liquidation wick, I know. But price settles down here below the value area low, right? Deviate below the high, above the high, back to the POC. Can't break out, can't break out, can't break out. POC is next. Lose the POC, value area low. This is the deviation below. Right now, you are currently living. Well, let me hide these old levels. Right? Even here. Perfect retest, back down. Now you're back above. So, and where do you push in? Right towards that POC. So you are within this profile, meaning not close enough for me. This value area low sitting at 40 cents is going to be key support. If you could stay inside of here, doorway to the POC remains open. Flip that POC. You got the, what is this anchored VWAP? I'm going to take this off. Pull the anchored VWAP from the high. So, yeah, you're going to run into this anchored VWAP. Might be confluent with the POC depending on when you get up there. But if you could stay on top of 40 cent value area low, I would be looking at the doorway to the POC still being open. Right? Flip that POC. Again, you're going to have to get above that anchored VWAP. Once you do that, then you can look up towards the value area high. And I might be able to actually extend this over a little bit. Let me just see how much this changes the profile. Yeah, liquidation wick is going to wonk it out. Actually, it doesn't change as much as I would think. But yeah, I would still say, yeah, hold above 40 cents, right? Doorway to the POC is going to remain open. Once you lose that, right, well, your big key level that you do not want to lose. Yeah, like a lot of these altcoins, right, like they didn't even get their full golden pocket 786 retracements. So you still have full retracement levels down here. I mean, this would be brutal, but that's the full fib, right? I have to bring that up. It's really far away. It starts at 20 cents, right? But if you pull it from the local low to the high, I would say lose this 786. You're probably at risk of coming down towards that bigger Fibonacci retracement. Right? So if you do cool off, all right, maybe you can hold a higher low, get back in, rotate through the profile. But once you start losing that 786, I'm definitely looking to take these lows out. Question is, are you going to be able to come all the way down to that full golden pocket? It's a pretty massive drop, especially from where you are right now. Right, it's like another 52% dump, so I'm not necessarily saying that has to happen. But if you lose that 786, it's literally the only level that I can look at, to be honest. And maybe you have some local extension levels down here, but this is really the level you don't want to lose, in my opinion. Again, sitting at 34 cents. But right now you're in the profile, so hopefully you could just stay in here, continue up. But there you go. That's what I'd be looking at Jupiter. Still very low. Someone said that. I would agree. Here's your high. March of 2024 at $1.81. This thing is sitting at 42 cents. So, and again, you're kind of just in, I would consider this like kind of your quote unquote bear market range. I know this wasn't the bear market, but, you know, here's your upper value. Here's your lower value. Right now, you're just sitting in your lower value. Hopefully you can stay in here, right? And then once you break out, you look to get accepted into the next fair value, which would be all the way up here. If you lose the 786, well, maybe you're going to go and seek new value, right? Maybe you come down here and create some new value or something like that. But that's what I'd be looking at on Jupiter. And you also have the daily red dot coming in here as well. So same thing as Bitcoin. Something just moved in the studio, guys. Halloween's coming too quick. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Sandard says, totally random. Frankie, do you use a stylus or a mouse for these drawings? Shout out to Sandard. I use a mouse. A mouse. Are they that good? You think I'm using a stylus? Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Optimus said, H-bar, Frankie, H-bar. Shout out to Optimus. All right, let's take a quick look at it. Actually, I haven't checked at H-bar in a while. Let's take a look at H-bar. Holy wick. Dang, what? Good Lord. Okay. I do have an H-bar chart. I don't think that's it. There it is. All right. Well, last time we looked at this, I guess we were talking about ranges breaking down randomly. Have not looked at this in a while. So let me update some of this stuff because a lot of this stuff has been tapped. Tapped on the wick, tapped on the wick, tapped on the wick, tapped on the wick, but still holding. This I'm going to keep because that's important. Nope. Let me just get this. It is a scorcher in the studio right now, guys. Man, missed that golden pocket retracement by pennies. Wound up being that one. All right, but I can get rid of this now. Get rid of this, even though this is still resistance. This is tapped. Anchored VWAP from the top is still important. And so is this golden pocket 786. So I will take this box off, though. Okay, so here's the context. And what is this? Previous value area high. I'll hide this. All right, so this fib from the low to the high. What was the context on these key support levels? You saw the blue box here. We were looking at that as support. And then you have the 786 down here, which is critical support. So we're holding on top. I mean, the liquidation wick obviously ran through everything, right? Where'd we get the support? Right on your bear market value area high, right? But ignoring the wick here. Again, this was all liquidations. So not that it doesn't represent price action, but if we just kind of ignore this, pretend that wick's not there, right? Very simple, right? Because it's like manipulation, liquidation, right? Again, represents price action, but we know why that wick happened. Lots of liquidations, right? But the biggest key levels on the chart before that liquidation were obviously going to be the golden pocket value area high and the 786 value area low, and the POC, because it's all kind of in confluence there. So we are looking for a low, a high, a potential higher low on the golden pocket, which obviously we didn't get, but you're holding on top of that 786. So I want to point this out. Very important that we held that 786, right? Because just like we saw that wick rip down to the... Where's this box, guys? Just like we saw this wick rip down to that value area high, we would have to say to ourselves, if you don't hold this 786, what are we looking at, right? You have the low, the high, hoping for a higher low on the golden pocket. Again, that didn't happen, but right now we are technically holding the 786. If we decisively lost this, right, we would probably have done the same thing as this wick, but just on, over a longer period of time. Because once you lose that 786, the idea of the higher low is invalidated, and I'm usually looking to take out the lows, right? Taking out the lows that the fib is pulled from, which would mean at least a drop down below, call it 12 cents, right? And then where's the next key level of support if you can't hold those lows? Well, it's the value area high. So it happened on the liquidation, which is kind of nice because it was quick, right? Like if you weren't on your chart, right, for like a day, you would have like saw the pain and missed it, and you wouldn't have felt it, which would have been nice. Still down a bit, but I just want to show you guys the importance of holding on top of this 786, right? Because if you don't hold that 786, invalidated, right? And that wick is okay. We closed back above it, right? And we wound up settling price on that 786. So this is still the key level of support, right? Because again, any dailies or weeklies that we had on this price action has now been ran through. So I have nothing else down here. So I would say very important to hold up on top of that 786. If you wind up coming back down and losing this 786 and you don't get a quick reclaim back into the profile, well, guess what? You get stuck underneath here, probably looking for a potential fill the wick scenario, similar to Solana, right? You lose those 786s. It's like, where else are we going to look for the higher low? At least on a higher time frame, right? So it could put you at risk of filling that wick in full with the next major key level of support sitting at the value area high. Again, because any MPOCs we had here, any daily levels, any weekly levels, anything down here, like this all got ran through on that wick. So the only thing I can look at is like, well, hey, if you lose that 786, not only would I just be naturally looking to take out this low like we did on the liquidation, hopefully that is the move. Hopefully we don't have to come back down and fill it. Hopefully we just got all that to play out in that wick, right? Kind of quick and I don't want to say painless, but less painful than watching it bleed out over months. So this level, I would say 16 cents. You got to stay inside here. So that's your local profile with extremely important support at the lows. You do not want to lose these lows. 16 cents. You got to stay above 16 cents. Now, for the move to the upside, clearly, if you can get out of this volume profile, the bigger doorway to higher prices is going to be the value area low at 24 cents. Get back above that, flip it to support. You're back above the anchored VWAP. You can start to look for pushes up towards the POC and the macro value area high, getting closer to 30 cents and 36 cents. Until then, you're kind of just stuck in this local range, right? You got a big push up, and you're potentially coming back down into it. So that's a local range. Value area high sitting at 20 cents. POC sitting at 16, almost 17 cents, and then your value area low at about 16 cents. So we'll see. You're probably going to chop around here. You just do not want to lose that 786 decisively. And for the bigger move up, you got to flip 24 cents. But you got the anchor VWAP above you, and you got the value area low. Of course, that's going to be resistance until proven otherwise. So that's what I'd be looking at on H-bar. 10-hour money flow is crossing over into the green. This could be interesting. You got the red dot printing, but that 10-hour money flow crossover could be interesting with a weekly green dot, which is printing. Let me double check that real quick. Bear with me. I think about these so much, sometimes I chop them up. I think the 10-hour is the 1/16th on the weekly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a potential big market cipher B 1/16 setup. Now, again, this doesn't mean, I don't want to say like all season coming, it's guaranteed to bounce, but that is a bullish signal, right? You have the weekly green dot printing. You got your 10-hour money flow crossing over into the green. If you could sustain that money flow crossover, you could potentially look for that bigger trend to the upside. And then again, your mission becomes to get above the anchored VWAP currently coming in at 22 cents and then eventually getting above that doorway to higher prices or value area low sitting at 24 cents. Once you get back in there, it's like, all right, hopefully we can stay inside that upper value, right? Here's your lower value. Here's your upper value, right? Right now you're in the lower value. So once you break out, you're looking to seek out the upper fair value. So there you go. That's what I would look at on H-bar or H-bar, as some people like to call it. All right, let's see here. Shout out to Tube and Jar. Says, what about Dogecoin? Does anybody care about Dogecoin anymore? Yeah, I'll take a look at Dogecoin. I don't mind. Let's take a look. All right, so very similar on Dogecoin, right? You're holding on top of your major key level of support, which is, of course, sitting here on the 786 daily MPOC value area low. Again, liquidation wick dropped you much lower, and in the case of this not being a wick, right, what would we say here? Lose this value area low, right? You're losing your 786. I'm looking to take out this low. Where's your next key levels of support? Well, if you took out this low, your first level was the weekly MPOC. Underneath that, the only other level was this weekly MPOC down here. We ran through and got support off that last one. Hopefully, that was what you needed. Hopefully, that was like all the quick pain that we needed. And now we could just stay up in here, right? Because the bigger key level on a Dogecoin to stay above is the value area low at 16 cents. Sure, we lost it and went, massive, 63% wick. But again, price settles back up above that 786. Does that make sense, right? This is all liquidations, right? But we settled on top of that 786. So this isn't technically lost in my opinion. It's like a big old SFP. So it doesn't mean you can't lose it, but what it does mean is you want to stay inside this zone, right? You can come back down, retest it, but you do not want to lose that 786. If you lose the 786 and the value area low, once again, just like everything else, right, you're at risk. I don't have these weekly MPOCs down here anymore. They're now tapped. I'll keep them on here, but they're tapped, right? I don't put as much weight on these after they're tapped, right? So tapped, if we don't involve these, it's like, where's the next support level? I mean, yikes. I mean, this is also the value area high of the previous range, which is confluent with the weekly MPOC, which I guess is also the technical level that you tapped, just like H-bar, right? You wick through, you tap the value area high, back up, right? So, again, you don't want to lose this. And it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to just instantly see a drop down there. Like maybe we can look at some, and again, like any of these key levels got ran through on that wick. Maybe you hold the tapped weekly MPOC. Maybe we can... I don't know. Maybe we can find a Fibonacci extension. But at the end of the day, lose this value area low. You're at risk of filling that wick in full, right? Unless you get support on this tapped weekly, which, again, I don't put a lot of weight on those tapped levels. So just keep that in mind. But right now, you're still above it. And I'm going to hide this local range so it's not super confusing. So this is just still your larger profile. Deviate above the high, can't get out, POC, value area low, deviation, back in, flip it to support, back to the POC, deviation below, get back in, push to the POC, back down, right? If we could hold here, the doorway to the POC is still open. And then we have this local profile up here. This is, I'm not even really going to cover this, right? Because it's just local, right? If you get above here, like, hey, maybe we can continue that move to the POC. But at the end of the day, you're really just looking for that push to the POC. This is really just the intermediary levels if you're looking for, like, trades or something like that, like lower time frame stuff. But overall, right, like stay above here, doorway to the POC is open. Lose this, not much there to hold you up. So just keep that in mind, right? Maybe I could pull up the VPVR can probably help us here. Like you see those weekly MPOCs, which is very common as a high volume node. So all this weekly MPOC is tapped, right? Like look at all this volume. This is the strongest level, right? This is kind of like the POC of all of this price action. Massive high volume node. We don't want to lose that, right? You want to hold on top of it. The nice thing is when you're on top of it, it acts as a floor. Once you break down below it, it could become a massive ceiling. And then where is the next big spike in volume? It's on that tapped weekly MPOC, right? So that could still offer support. And then you also have one right down here, which is not the MPOC, but you do have another high volume node at 10 cents. We'll cover these lower levels when we get there, if we have to, right? But right now, just to show you, the VPVR is awesome because it shows you like a nice visual representation. It's like, if you lose here, right, well, this is now becoming resistance, and then you have a big fall off in volume to like these lower levels, right? So you very oftentimes see a fast move down like that. So definitely got to hold on top of here. Not only the value area low, but massive high volume node. Right, and then the nice thing here as well is if you can start pushing up on top of this high volume node, you could see the volume starts to fall off until you get to that value area high. So the higher you go, right, like the less resistance you run into, flip that POC, it's basically a gap up into the value area high. So that's what I would look for. You definitely do not want to lose this level. If we do, we'll come back down and revisit these levels. But stay above here. This is still open. Lose it, much more downside to come, in my opinion. Taking a look at the money flow, daily course, just super choppy. Nothing I can take away from this, to be quite honest with you guys. Maybe we want to come down and put in a little daily bull div, daily red dot printing. Maybe you could do something like that. A little daily bull div for a bigger bounce. Money flow super choppy. 2-day money flow coming up. 3-day money flow coming out. 4-day money flow coming up. 5-day money flow in the red. 6-day money flow in the red. Weekly money flow flat. Literally no bias or information could come out of that, guys. It's like up, down, up, down, up, down. Super, super sketchy situation, at least from a chart reading perspective. But those are definitely the key levels to look at. And I will also, let me just pull up our, and get rid of this. Get rid of this, get rid of this. That's upper value. Get rid of this. Bear market range. Yeah, look at that bear market range. It's literally the level you got support on, right? And again, the idea here long-term is low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, maybe, right? And that is why, right? Because like if you want to hold that higher low, what do you have to hold? You have to hold these massive key levels of support. So that's why if we lose those 7/8 this value area low, right? Like there's not much below us. But that wick, right? If you just ignore that wick, it's like, hey, this is still alive. This is still alive. But you wind up getting the breakdown there. Yikes, right? You might be able to come back down to these much, much, much lower levels. So there you go. Little zoomed out perspective for you. So there we go. Let's see. Peter Schiff just said, by the way, was going to pop. Was it the bottom? Shout out to Just Do It. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. But if you let me know, clear it up in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer that question. Worst nightmare, red dot are printing when the VWAP flips from 0 line on Market Cipher B. Shout out to Genzi. I don't know if I fully understand that. You're talking about a VWAP flip, potentially. What effect do I think the China deal will make with crypto? I'll be honest, right? Like, I don't want to say that, like, obviously the macro environment is important, right? But I don't know. It's not something I make decisions off of, right? Like, honestly, right now it's kind of hard because the decisions that we're going to be making or the decisions that we would make off the chart are just a little bit fuzzy right now. But it's just like, it's never as easy, right? I always get these questions from like people in my life. Well, when this happens, we're going to pump, right? Like when this news event happens, we're going to pump, right? Because that's good. And it makes sense. I totally get it, right? Like I always point back to like the Coinbase IPO, right? I've marked off like all the significant tops and bottoms in the market, right? Coinbase IPO. People are saying like, oh, Coinbase IPO, this is super bullish. Like I should buy in. This is really good for crypto. That's the green light to buy and come up, right? But it's literally almost the tick top. Right, so it's like whether it's an IPO announcement, whether it's a stablecoin announcement, whether it's a credit, the MasterCard partnership, whatever it is, CME futures launches, right? Like there's the news, there's the or here's the rumor, here's the news, top comes in to the bottom, right? So it's like I don't know if it's going to be a positive thing, maybe we rally into the thought of it and then it happens and you dump. It's like I don't really put a lot of like it can have a long-term effect maybe, but it's not something I trade based off of. And as almost 100% technical trader, it's just not something I pay much attention to. So, a lot of people say, well, if they cut rates, we're going to pump, right? And I think a lot of people will just kind of know this just from being around crypto. It's like, well, if they cut the expected amount, right, like it's probably going to dump off that, right? It's kind of like the buy the rumor, sell the news situation. So I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. It's not like, oh, well, if this goes this way, it's like if something bad happens, it's usually already on the charts. If something good happens, it's already on the charts. Like 90% of the time. It's again for this big short on Bitcoin when we call it the massive wick, or this massive short from the top all the way down on that huge wick. We were short before the tweet. Right, like somebody made a comment on the video, the market update that I did, and they're like, it didn't dump because of money flow, it dumped because of the tweet. It's like, exactly, so exactly. I was short either a day or 2 days before the tweet came in. That's my whole point, right? It's like yes, sure, the tweet gave us the fuel to move down, but it's like money flow was calling the short before we even saw that tweet come in. So it's like they kind of proved the point, like, by making their argument. So it's like, again, like people say, if I'm short, right, like typically whatever the news that happens the next day or two is just in line with what the charts were saying anyway. Now, does that mean that sometimes you won't have a bear, like if you have a bearish setup here, right? Let's say we take the short and we're like, oh, let's go down to the value area low, and then some random shocking bullish news comes out that just won't play out and price will pump. Maybe, but it is usually completely unpredictable, unexpected things. If the news is unpredictable, untalked about, not expected, and it just comes out as a black swan, like if they just make an announcement like, hey guys, we're just going to start printing money out of nowhere, right? Well, then maybe that causes a pump, right? Because it shocks the market, especially if there's a lot of indecision. And then there's like, oh guys, we're going to print money. Boom. Then you might see the reaction off the news. But if it's like, hey guys, like we're going to cut 0.25 basis points on the next Fed meeting, right? And then they do it. It's usually like rally up. And then they call what it's expected. It's like expected news is not good news, right? It's like you wind up getting the knee-jerk reaction to the downside. But if they come up there and they're like, oh, we're gonna cut more than we expected, then maybe you see the pump off that good news. But if it's anticipated and then like the news just happens the way they think it's gonna happen, it's usually not a thing to look at and then buy based off of, right? Usually if you're buying the news or selling the news, you're too late. You could even argue that here. I don't know exactly when the news came out, but chances are if you were sitting there and you got a notification, oh, some bearish tweet popped up, and then you short, you're not going to get filled up here. You're probably going to get filled at the bottom before you bounce, and you're going to get cooked, right? So again, I pay very little attention to the news. I think news is mostly just like retail traps, right? Because like who buys when Bitcoin goes into the mainstream media? Oh my God, Bitcoin makes a new all-time high. Bitcoin breaks another record, right? Like who is buying that news, right? It's the people that were not paying attention when they should have, right? It's the people that always come in late. And even if they're not buying the top of the bull market, right? They're probably buying in here. I know people personally that, bought the top, wrote it down. Some of them sold. Some of them just held on, right? Some of them bought up here, bought the top, right? And I've always tell them, like, be careful, be careful, be careful. But, like, who buys that, right? It's like retail who's not focused on this stuff. They're not usually very well informed or educated on how the markets move, etc. So it's like, if it was that easy, right? Like, oh, my God, Bitcoin's in the news. Let me buy, and then it's going to go up forever. It's it's not a great strategy, in my opinion. You're usually almost all the time going to be late there. Shout out to Base Bailey, said somebody was requesting Peanut. Let's see. Shout out to Base Bailey. Thank you for that. Let's see. Peanut. We can take a look at Peanut. Number one TikTok squirrel. Hopefully I'll look at the right one. I guess it's probably just Peanut. All right, let's take a look at it here. I mean, this is a meme coin. I don't know if there's not going to be. You got your 5-day green dot, 6-day green dot looking to print, weekly green dot looking to print. Let's check the daily. I would say with this red dot on the daily, you're probably likely to make a new low here. But again, it's very similar, right? It's like this wick is kind of throws everything off, right? Let me just pull this real quick. Pull the volume profile. So I would be. This will be your lower profile. And then you could argue you could pull this as one as well. It's probably going to be a little more wonky. Probably pull it more like this. Yeah. So I won't talk about this one just yet. But, you've lost the value area low. Big wick down below. You're trying to get back in here, right? So, I mean, you have a daily red dot, so I wouldn't be surprised if you can make another low here. Again, I have nothing to look left on. I just can't find any other key levels just because this wick has taken everything out. The only thing I can look at, right, is I can pull my fib, right, which is obviously pretty far away. I could pull an anchored VWAP from the low, which is not going to give you much help. Whoops. So, I mean, this is the next, like, simple support that you would have down below. Golden Pocket 786. If you get a full rejection from here, I mean, this is the next obvious level of support, sitting between 10 and 8 cents. And again, daily red dot. I mean, I'm not saying you have to push down to this, but I would say with this daily red dot, it would look, somewhat nice to put in another low here and get a daily bull div. The problem is if you don't push all the way down to this golden pocket, the question becomes like, what are you even bouncing off of, right? Like where is, this is getting like, I'm really reaching here to be honest, but like, yeah, like, I don't know, maybe I can pull like local extensions here. I mean, but then it's just like you have a level every 2 seconds, right? So it's like, 12 cents, 11 cents, 10 cents, and then you get down to the golden pocket and the 786, right? So, like, you could screenshot these. I would say the bigger level is obviously going to be the one I marked out down here. But if you are going to bounce earlier, maybe it's off one of these extension levels, but it's very speculative. But I would definitely say this is the bigger level of support. I can't guarantee you get down there, but if you did get a big drop, this is where I would hope you hold, right? Because if you don't hold that, it's like, yeah, I mean, you got to get back in here. But, if you don't hold this, lose this, I mean, you're looking to take out this low. So now we'll see. We'll let this develop. But you're basically just hitting your head on this value area low, as you can see, right, from a context standpoint. Deviation above, get back in, POC, value area low. Your goal here for a move up is to flip that value area low to support at 14 cents, and then hopefully continue up to the POC and the value area high. Those are always going to be the next targets here, and this would definitely be the range that I'm looking at. 16-hour money flow trying to come up. 3-day money flow in the red. It's just really, like, market side for B signals are all over the place. So I would say locally, if this daily red dot stays here and doesn't just disappear, let's check that 90-minute money flow. It's probably already in the red. Yeah, 90-minute money flow is crossed into the red. So that daily red dot stays there, and this money flow could indicate that the trend is going to continue down on peanut. Right? Unless this just fakes out into the green, the red dot disappears, then maybe you can get a scam back up. But with this money flow crossover and the daily red dot printing, I would have to expect lower highs and lower lows. And then, of course, you could even pull this as a local range, right? Something like this if you want to just like hyper local levels. Technically, you're at some kind of support here. Whoops. You do have a daily, right? This is like the only level that I can pull. Daily right here. Daily value area low. That's some local support. But again, I wouldn't necessarily expect this to be, massive bounce to all-time highs or anything like that. Because that 90-minute money flow maybe get a little bounce, and then that 90-minute money flow is indicating lower highs and lower lows. So, yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on peanut. Also, meme coins don't always respect the TA that beautifully, so I would also be careful with that. This doesn't look that bad, though. This has, like, actual legit, somewhat legit price action. So, there you go. A little bit of peanut. Shout out to Just Do It. Said, Peter Schiff says Bitcoin is a bubble that is about to pop. Shout out to Just Do It. This is what I meant. Shout out to Just Do It. Has he said that before? And I mean, listen, I guess you could argue, right, that maybe Bitcoin has been a bubble, right? Like maybe Bitcoin was a bubble in 2021, right? Bubble, it popped, right? Bubble, it pops, right? I wouldn't expect it to pop forever. Hopefully not. That would be absolutely brutal. I don't personally believe that, right? Like my long-term bullishness on Bitcoin is I genuinely do believe, I am in the camp, that Bitcoin is going to trend up and to the right over time, right? With the exception of maybe like some kind of like a Great Depression type situation. Like we haven't really seen Bitcoin go through like a full true recession. So maybe that is a little different. But yeah, I wouldn't expect it to pop forever. I mean, Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's hard money, right? Like that, the fundamentals don't go away, right? And you could see, like, I don't use like, oh, Bitcoin's hard money, let me long, right? But it's like, over time, right? Like if you understand the mechanics of Bitcoin and why it's so important and why it's actually hard money is, it's kind of hard to say that it's never going to go, it's not going to keep going up, right? So yeah, I would disagree. But hey, I don't know. I mean, he's Peter Schiff. Maybe he's right. I don't know. I don't agree with it though. Just don't sell and it will not go down. What's your problem? Unless Sailor sells. Shout out to Battle Juice. Yeah, everybody just hold. Everybody just hold, please. Poe said maybe you're a bubble about to pop. Start getting like angry. But there you go. Crypto Billy in the chat. What is going on, Billy? Welcome in. Welcome in. Shout out to Seth said, oh wait, so I'm cooked. Just started considering investing in crypto, but it sounds like it's a bad time to buy. Shout out to Seth. I wouldn't take anything. I mean, this is a difficult time to buy. And I'm not saying it's a bad time to buy, right? At least altcoins, right? We are in a bit of a pickle here, right? Because like the big debate right now in the crypto universe is, some people think the top is in. Some people think that the bull market is just starting. Some people think the top is gonna come in maybe soon. I am personally in the camp of the top. It is arguable that the top is in. I'm not saying it is in. I'm saying it is arguable. I would never recommend to anybody that I know or love, and you guys included, right? Not that you should ever listen to somebody on YouTube, some crazy guy on YouTube that screams into a microphone like me. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. But like when my family asks me, they're like, hey, should I buy Bitcoin? What kind of service would I be doing them? telling them to essentially buy Bitcoin the most expensive it's ever been. Is this a good time to buy? Not necessarily, right? Now, if you're Michael Saylor, you'll buy the tops forever and you don't care. But his outlook is long term. If you buy up here and your thesis is that you're going to buy at 69K or 64K and hold for 10 years, well, then maybe you don't really care what tops or bottoms you're buying. You're just kind of dollar cost averaging in over time, and you're going to, make money as price trends up. But I can never tell somebody like, oh, like Bitcoin just put in a new all-time high. Should I buy? My answer is always probably not. Probably not. I got those questions here. I got those questions here. And I got those questions here. And my answer is always the same. Like, well, hey, like we could definitely go higher. I just don't know if right now is the time to buy, right? You're getting very emotional off Bitcoin making a new all-time high. You should probably wait for a pullback at least, unless you just want to buy and hold long-term, right? Then maybe it doesn't matter as much. But for altcoins, it's a different story, right? Altcoins, we just looked at things like Jupiter, whatever altcoin, name your altcoin, right? Like they're still hanging out down here at their lows. So it's from a chart perspective, right? Like you're not buying the top here. So, but again, when are they going to print money? When they print money, maybe we'll see these altcoins rally, right? And if they start rallying off money printing, it's like, all right, well, hey, that looks like a really great place to buy. Now not necessarily, the difference between buying here and buying here, or buying here or buying here is not a big deal, right? If you're just, for me on Bitcoin, I was buying ever since we got this drop down, right? So like I'm buying up here. Am I not buying here because I think we can go lower? No, I'm dollar cost averaging in. Right? I'm buying, right? Getting an average entry price somewhere in the middle to enjoy the longer term move to the upside, which is obviously massively in profit right now. So that is where you want to buy, right? But altcoins are a little bit different, right? Altcoins are not sitting at the highest they've ever been. As a matter of fact, a lot of them are at the lowest they've ever been, or made new lows, some of them. No one can tell you exactly when to buy or sell. You just have to, what's your plan, right? Are you looking to buy for a day trade, a scalp? Are you looking to hold for a week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, a month? Are you looking to dollar cost average in and then hold it for 10 years? Like, it's all going to be different, right? So yeah, it's a hard question to answer. Let's see. And then, hopefully if we see the cycle, if we do see the cycle continue, which again has never happened, but if it does, well, then maybe this is I still wouldn't say this is the best time to buy, right? But, for altcoins, let's say like Bitcoin goes into, maybe we pull back and then Bitcoin eventually goes into like a super cycle into 2026 and we start getting money printing and we start pumping in 2026. Well, if they start printing money, then maybe that's where you see the altcoins start to get their moves up. But again, that's never happened before, so it's very hard to predict. But at the same time, it's not impossible. So very difficult. A lot of people just want to know, like, tell me when to buy, tell me when to sell. Doesn't exist. You're chasing something that doesn't exist. At some point, you're going to have to take the risk and accept that if you're wrong, you might lose some money, right? Or you might even just be down temporarily until it goes back up. All right, there we go. Shout out to Zach, said, that is the biggest joke I've heard. Don't buy Bitcoin. It's already too expensive. But buy alts. If BTC will not move up, alts will die up. One at a time. Yeah, shout out to ZC. That's actually a good point as well, right? But that would be in the context of money printing coming, right? Because in order to see the alts put in new all-time high, or not even put in new all-time highs, but to see alts pump, right, you need Bitcoin to put in new all-time highs as well, right? But in that scenario, if they start printing money, right, you would hope that Bitcoin is pushing into new all-time highs as well. But just from like a very basic standpoint, right, it's like, I wouldn't really tell, I don't tell people when to buy or sell in general, right? But like buying an asset at the highest it's ever been is a much different scenario than buying altcoins when they're still at lows, right? Now, it does not mean that they can't go lower, right? There's obviously that big what if. But yeah, 100% buying an asset at the most expensive it's ever been is a much better decision, or much worse decision than buying something that is down maybe, let's call it, down 79, 80%, right? So that actually stands 100% true. But, of course, you need Bitcoin to pump to see the altcoins pump as well. So there you go. Let's see. ZC, tell us when to buy. Tell us when to buy. I'm already holding, but let's see. The Bitcoin lanterns in the chat. Let's go. That is our best emoji, guys. That is our best emoji. Shout out to Tony D. I don't even know how he made that. Now you could just make them with AI, I guess, but he was doing that before AI. All right, let's see. I've become a maxi stacker of sats. Shout out to Post. Yeah, my portfolio is heavily favored into Bitcoin and the higher cap altcoins. I do hold lower cap altcoins though. FOMC stream tomorrow. Yes, I believe we will be streaming FOMC. Shout out to Costa. It'll be hopefully it's chaos, right? I feel like we only had a couple chaotic FOMC streams, and then a lot of them are like nothing burgers. But yes, absolutely, we will be. I believe we'll be live streaming. Shout out to K-Dub said, now is the best time to buy. Shout out to K-Dub. Yeah, I don't know. I think the best, I mean, you can always argue the point forever, right? Is this the best time? I mean, I would say this 100% of the time. Is this the best time to buy Bitcoin? Absolutely not. It's literally almost the most expensive it's ever been. But also, right, if it pumps, this now becomes not the best place, not the worst place to buy, right? It's also not the best place. Is this the best place to buy Bitcoin? Well, no. I could argue people who bought down here. I could argue people that bought down here, that was a better place to buy, right? Well, then this was a better place to buy. Well, this was a better place to buy. Well, where I bought was better. Well, where the guy who's holding from down here was better, right? So it's like, it's just in general, right? The markets move in waves, right? So it's like, you know, I would tell people here, like, hey, should I buy Bitcoin right now? I have my Coinbase app open. I'm always going to tell them, especially as a trader, having an eye on the charts every single time, and you know, at least the big moves, being able to know whether you're probably going to get a pullback or not. It's like, should I buy right now? I'm like, I mean, you could buy whenever you want. Just understand that if you buy right now, you're buying at an all-time high, and it's probably going to cool off. Are you willing to accept a 20 to 30% dump after you buy to then wait for more gains? If so, well, that's fine, right? It's not the best place to buy. This would be a much better place to buy. But you can't always snipe the tops and the bottoms, right? Which is why dollar cost averaging is, for long-term holds, is my choice, right? Or my preference. But yeah, like, is it the best time to buy? Absolutely not. Even if it pumps, right? Like I'd say, this is not the best time to buy Bitcoin. It could pump from here, and that is still true, right? Because then you could just argue, the best time to buy was all the way back here, right? But yeah, I don't know. I digress. But yeah, let me see what we're doing here. Pushing back down, just wiggling around, just ugh. All right, let's see. Shout out to Two Will Crypto said, how does gold look on the charts? Continuing down. I think think it found a bottom. Shout out to Two Will Crypto. Actually, if you scrub back, we already looked at gold, gave the key levels and my overall bias. There will be good news and it will pump. Then Trump will tweet and then it will dump. Shout out to K-Dub. Probably. Probably. We got a bullish black swan. We're mooning. Trump's like, crypto's banned. Probably. High probability on that. Shout out to X24 says, bull market starts the 7th of November. Who said that? Shout out to X24. I hope so. But I don't know what you mean by bull market, right? Like, the bull market is happening, right? Like, we are in a bull market. This is what I don't get. I think people confuse, or I guess there's like different ways to explain what a bull market is, right? It's like, this is a bull market. Is this not a bull market? Is it just a sideways range? No. So yeah, I don't know exactly what you mean. I hope maybe you just mean like the next big leg up is going to start November 7th. I hope so. That would be beautiful. And it would also fit within a new all-time high. So the camp that I fall in, right, is as long as we still have time in Q4, and this is not assuming this time is different. If this time is not going to be different, then we would have to assume either the top is in, if you're just going by the traditional four-year cycle, which may change, right? Either the top is in, or we still have some time in Q4 for one last blow-off top, right? And that would be viewing it through the traditional sense, right? That is the camp that I fall in as of right now, right? I am open to looking for the cycle to extend. It's just not my base case. So I'm more in the camp of either the top is in here, or we have a little bit of time left in Q3, right? November 7th would be a nice time to start that pump. So I hope you're right. We just got that push to the upside. That would be what I'd be looking for. And then if 2026 starts and we don't have the new all-time high, then you're essentially just hoping that this time is different, which although this might be the highest probability chance to have this, every time we have another cycle go by, it becomes a higher probability that that the cycle will change, right? But it's very hard to predict that, right? But if they do start printing money, you could argue that this time being different is a little higher probability because that will facilitate a melt up potentially. So there you go. That's my 2 cents. The distinction is important. Yes, 100%, right? I mean, some people will just classify a bull market as a long-term uptrend. I think in crypto we tend to I think most people tend to classify the bull markets based off the 4-year cycle, right? There's your bull market, right? Where the bottom comes in, I guess you can market from the bottom. So bull market beginning, it doesn't make sense to me, right? Like we're in a bull market. Maybe bull market, next big leg up, I think is probably what you mean. Let's hope the 4-year cycle remains the same. I want the 4-year cycle to remain the same for the sole fact of like, it's just really convenient, right? But again, I've showed the SPY on top of Bitcoin. They pretty much just follow each other step by step. Yeah, this time it's a 5-year cycle, not a 4-year cycle. Yeah, I saw that pop. I saw a clip pop up. I think was it Raoul Powell? You must have watched that video. That it could be a 5-year. I didn't watch the whole video. It was an Instagram reel, and it was interesting. I mean, that dude's super smart. And so, again, I wonder what that actual thesis is, it being a 5-year cycle. Does he talk about money printing in that or whoever made that up? That would make sense to me. And that's why I'm entertaining it as a potential this time. All right, let's see. Garrett says H-bar. We just took a look at H-bar. The only thing that is guaranteed is the halving. yeah, the halving will happen, and hopefully it continues to spark bull markets. But yeah, if you scrub back just a few minutes, we did take a look at H-bar. I'm so glad I moved most of my stuff into Bitcoin. April hurt my portfolio a lot. Now I am doing so much better in profit for months too. Yeah, shout out to Brillo. I mean, again, I do hold alts. A good amount of them are down. Some of them are up. My Solana's up. My Ethereum's up. My XRP is up big. But I mean, yeah, like my entry price on Bitcoin is between like it's like around $21,000. So like, I mean, this is just nice. I've just been like chilling this entire bull market, and any dumps I get on the altcoins, again, my portfolio is heavily weighted on Bitcoin. So it's like, got that going for me. So that's nice. But yeah. Just make sure I didn't miss anything up here if anybody had any questions. So November 7th, we're writing it down. X24, November 7th. I've had, I couldn't count. I would run out of time to count how many people said that something starts on a specific date. It is yet to happen, but X24, because you're calling for a move up, I'm gonna mark this off and pray that you're right. And if we are right, we will celebrate you, and we'll give you a custom emoji in the chat. It'll be I don't know, maybe a wizard emoji or something. Shout out to you. We're rooting for you. Trust me. I think everybody else is too. Let's see. Yeah, Lasers says BTC is the most secure in the world. Absolutely. I mean, doesn't change the fundamentals, even like in the bear markets, right? Like, oh my God, it's all over, right? Like the fundamentals still remain the same. So yeah. I'm so glad Frankie keeps his stream short, and my girlfriend would be pissed. Yeah, shout out to Panda the Prophet, guys. I did not realize it is 8 o'clock. I've been going for way too long here. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. We're already over, really over an hour and 20 minutes. But I just can't do a shorter stream than 2 hours. But guys, with all that being said, let's go ahead and just check in on Bitcoin. Yeah, just kind of wiggling around here. Like I said, if you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream to see what my thoughts are here locally. We talked about the trades. We showed them. I kind of talked about my plan on what I'm looking at locally here over the medium term, the short term, and the long term. Hopefully the long term is going up. November 7th. Mark it on your charts, guys. X24 said it, not me. But with all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream, guys. I can't believe it's 8 o'clock right now. I got to get out of here. I just don't want to leave, guys. I just don't want to leave. I like hanging out with you guys. But with all that being said, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Karen says, yeah, my girlfriend who really exists. Shout out to Karen. Contrary to popular belief, people think that Mrs. Candles is a blow-up doll, but she's not. She's not. I wouldn't show her on camera if she was a blow-up doll, guys. Does she look like a blow-up doll to you? Come on, stay up. Like, this is as real as it gets, guys. This is as real as it gets. Three-dimensional. She's real, guys. I really have a girlfriend. But anyway, with all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I will see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, right here. We will be live for FOMC, so we'll be here live at I don't know, 1:30, 2 p.m., something like that. We'll drop we'll schedule it so you guys get the notification. But yeah, with all that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time. And for FOMC, that's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside.